Hello, salutations. What to do? This is the Gamer off out of Dura Gang No Vibes like Scrap. Let's get it. Welcome once again to the Aftershow Podcast. And note, don't adjust your monitors. Casual Avenger has not pulled a Sammy Sosa. We have a special guest. We have our very good friend over all the way from Twitch, our rival over on the YouTube, Johnny Rawker. What's up, Mr. Rawker?
How's it going, gang? Appreciate you having me and such.
And this guy over here is the artist formerly known as Jay Shockblast, who's now wearing glasses.
Yeah, I welcome to the first 30 minutes of my life wearing glasses. It's weird.
Exclusive. Yeah.
We might be getting British soon too, so we'll see what happens.
British.
In it. So yeah, how we all doing this week?
We're doing great. We got obviously a bunch of Spider-Man 2 stuff, which I'm very excited about, especially as a superhero content creator. I've been playing a bunch of games. I have more games than I have so many games. I gotta finish. I tried out the First Ascendant. That game is as fun as I thought it was going to be. Loving that open beta. I finally got to try out Payday 3 the day after our planned stream, but unfortunately matchmaking was completely down for the entire day. So all I got to do was the tutorials for an hour and dipped out. So that was the thing. But I finished Top Boy on Netflix, and that was a great final season. So it's been good. How you guys been? I see besides Jay Shockglass's eyes, everything's been going okay.
I barely need these things. That's the worst part. And like it's so weird like adjusting to them. Like I just feel like I don't even need them. So but I have to run the course, stick it out. They said I would need to get used to it. So
damn right you do.
Yeah. Lots of Mortal Kombat for me. Had a couple videos do pretty well, and trying to figure out, like, it's such a grind. Like, for as amazing as the game is, the one thing that they got really wrong, I feel, is the like all the accessories you can unlock and just how much you have to grind to get it. Something falling on you, or
just adjusting my monitor.
Yeah, so I really feel like it takes way too much grinding to unlock all the different, collectibles and skins and suits and brutalities for all your characters. So I'd like to see them adjust the XP there, but
wow, a live service game grindy?
Well, no, it's not really the live service aspect of it though. Like honestly, it's just like it was never this hard is essentially what I'm getting at.
That's what she said.
Well, yeah. Like Mortal Kombat 11, Mortal Kombat X, Injustice 2, you kind of got everything fairly easily.
Right.
So a little bit of a surprise that it's just like it took me over 700 matches to unlock the 15 unlockable slots for one of my cameos. I mean, that's insane, Yeah,
it seems excessive. Actually, we'll say what's up to chat in a second, but we have breaking news. The British have invaded once again. The British have invaded. The Redcoats have returned.
Yay! We did it! We did it again. We're back. Listen, we finally won something over here. All right, guys. Hello. What's the rules on this one? Okay, I'm not used to the Aftershow podcast being on it anyway. Was there any rules?
Yes.
Okay.
The usual rules of being on a YouTube platform. Don't talk about politics, religion, vaccines from or diseases from unspecified countries of origin, that sort of thing.
Okay, fair enough. All right, that goes my whole script.
And you have to pay Sadat reparations.
Well, that goes without saying. We'll work out the particulars early. You can send me your You can get the Cash App details settled. But everyone's already paid their toll today, except Star. We'll sell that.
Well, I mean, listen. Now that I've apparently taken over, listen, all that money goes to me now. Okay, that's how this works. That's village to the village.
Going to the crown. all goes to the crown.
I enjoyed our interaction on my Melina video.
Oh, you know what, Jay? I fully enjoyed being able to just go through all your Mortal Kombat videos and try and find like something to pun with the title, because I wanted to support your new stuff, but like I was like, I don't want to fully watch all of it because I might get the game, so I don't want to spoil myself.
Right,
so I was
right.
like, let me use the titles as like just something to put, right? Because if I just put like a full stop, I'll look like a bot, and YouTube will probably be like, nope. So I had to think of something.
No, he commented on the Melina video something. I don't remember what you said, but like I just rolled right into him like, it's because it's something. You said something about British, and then I'm like, oh, it's because of the it's because of the teeth, isn't it? Or something like that. Because Melina has really janky teeth. Yeah,
that's
that's what it was. That was yeah. That's what it was.
That's cum, bruv. All right. So,
anyway,
I learned all my British slang from Harry Potter and Top Boy. So what's up? We got a casual vendor, not in the panel, but he is in our hearts and in the chat. So shout out to,
and also in the deep dish.
Of course, always in that deep dish. We don't want to pull him away from it. So we appreciate you still showing up. We got Cap Tay, Old Man Eastwood, almost as old as Jay Shockblast. We got Spider-Man. We got Stephen Mike, Wolf Nation. Appreciate all you guys. Oh, there's Johnny Rawker, who's also on the panel. So appreciate you guys hanging out. We got a fun show today. We wanted to reach out to some particular guests because we're gonna talk today a little bit about a game that was pretty significant in the lives of pretty much everyone on this panel, and that was, of course, Marvel's Avengers, which is in the news today because some stuff is happening. It is literally days away from being deleted from digital storefronts forever. This once proud AAA game that was, had the potential to be the biggest game in the world, is now available for the low price of $4.
And people are still complaining.
I mean, people are playing it, man. Like the PC numbers they're not like amazing, but they're pretty good for a game that's about to be like out the window.
For Avengers, they're amazing.
For Avengers, yeah, they're pretty. Like it's a comeback city. All right, listen, Avengers 2 guaranteed.
I mean, after seeing those numbers, how could Embracer not green? Actually, we're going to get into exactly why the Embracer group will probably not be greenlighting it because we got a related story, somewhat related story to Marvel's Avengers about to be gone forever from digital storefronts. The Embracer Group is open to divesting its studios in addition to the mass layoffs that we've got so far, which have impacted Crystal Dynamics, the beloved studio, of course, behind Marvel's Avengers and the Tomb Raider series. So we got the news recently that Crystal Dynamics had to lay off 9 people, including our favorite Nick Edwards, who was doing marketing for Marvel's Avengers. He famously had a very productive and non-toxic relationship with Miller. He would always praise Miller on social media and on his professional accounts about how wonderful his contributions to the game were, how much he enjoyed all the leaking, and how he really was just appreciative of everything Miller has done for the game. Of course,
I mean, he likes him. I mean, he likes him so much. He's still speaking about him now, despite the game being done for. He just can't get enough of Miller.
To this day, best. So it's nice to see people becoming best friends through video games. No matter how tough the game was. Miller's actually working on an article right now. In fact, it started out. It was really just going to be kind of providing closure to Marvel's Avengers, closing out the story, bringing out some information, some final leaks. But it's also going to talk about the culture of Crystal Dynamics and kind of peel back the curtain to tell you how incredible of a place it is to work there, and how much everyone who worked there absolutely loves it, and there are no problems whatsoever. So look out for that one. And
everyone is sober at all times.
No one has ever gotten drunk in any of the rooms during the day while they're supposed to be working.
Certainly not when they're singing.
not at all.
Right.
It's a very, very professional environment. What's up now, Flo? So I guess the first thing we should get into is, I mean, $4. That's fair, right?
That's more than fair.
Absolutely.
It's a little excessive. No,
I mean, they could have gone $2, but for
$3.99 at this point, But
I can't believe there were actually people complaining about $4.
I mean, there were people complaining about the skins when they were $4, so it's not surprising.
There were people complaining about the skins being free because they had paid for them previously. So, even free doesn't work. So, I don't know. You'd have to give money back to the players for them to be happy at this point. You have to give them $4 to play the game.
Yeah,
well, they would still complain about that, though.
Yeah, they'd be like, why $4? I paid $60. If there's a way to complain, gamers will find it. We found, as we saw with the Marvel Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Avengers.
Oh God,
there's always bros willing to complain. I mean, with Spider-Man 2, it was where's the marketing? They're not showing enough. They're showing too much. I don't want the game to be spoiled.
It's not innovative enough. There's no innovation.
I can't believe he still web swings. It's bullshit.
Why are they in New York? Why aren't they with Wakanda?
that was the worst one for me. Like, a Spider-Man game is based in New York. Shock horror. No way.
How could they?
You mean your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? He's still in New York?
No.
Listen, Spider-Man 2 should have been in space, all right? He's in an intergalactic warfare. It should have been what Starfield is, but Spider-Man, okay? Anyway.
They should have followed in the footsteps of Avengers and had it in the Utah Badlands.
Yeah, I'm mad, to be honest, that Spider-Man 2 isn't No Man's Sky either.
Absolutely. Imagine how much more it would sell if you could go from swinging through New York to seamlessly taking off into space and flying to another planet.
Imagine Spider-Man web swinging into the sun.
I mean, we kind of had that happen in the Claw raid, but it wasn't intentional.
No, that was not. Speaking of videos, your buddy Allfather Stardust, he's dropping a video where he's talking about another Spider-Man 2 talking point, co-op. That's another thing Avengers did perfectly well, of course. Multiplayer with
the Sakion anomalies.
Yeah, he was imagining a Spider-Man 2 game with join in progress and multiplayer with other Spider characters, similar to Avengers, which we all know one of the best multiplayer games ever made.
That's
the join in progress formula.
Yeah.
No problem. Follow it. Just following what works. Yeah. What I gotta say, all jokes aside, what an absolute fucking shit show the Inverser Group has turned into. I mean, what happened?
I love how excited everyone was when it first got revealed, because a lot of people thought they're going to chuck money at Avengers. This is it. I mean, I remember, Johnny, I hate calling you out, man, because I don't mean it, but Bro was so excited. So. Like, you were like, this is it. And it was going to be like, and so did I, but then it turned out that they were just they were just pimping it. Really, that's
we had hope for that. First, it was like, oh no, it's over. And then when I posted that clip from the that presentation that I stayed up till 3 a.m. to live stream, where it said, "Oh, Avengers lives and saved." Everyone was like, "Yeah, very soon it's going to save the game. We're going to get the Scarlet Witch raid and the Doctor Strange and everything." And none of that happened.
I think we always got way too excited. To be fair, like they would bring it up in the streams, not even saying anything positive. Just like, yeah, we'll talk more about that in the future. We're like, yes, 2 more years.
6 seasons in a movie.
Yeah, let's go.
And Johnny Rawker was ahead of the curve on that one. Pretty much everyone except Miller, who obviously can see the future, and he was like, "Oh, no, this isn't looking good." You know, I think I got clued in. I'm pretty much was convinced Avengers was done in that second Embracer group meeting where they actually did talk about Avengers, but only to read like a press release for the Winter Soldier update, and then that's it. When they did that, and then they talked about how excited they were at the future for Idols Montreal, I was like, that's not a good sign.
Right.
Like it's like, oh, Idols Montreal, love what they did with Guardians of the Galaxy. We have new games developed. We're looking forward to it. That's going to be great. Crystal Dynamics, we're looking forward to the Tomb Raider. You know, we're very excited. We looking at Legacy of Kain. And Marvel's Avengers has Winter Soldier DLC coming out. And moving on, I was like, what? Hang on a minute.
You'll miss it type thing. Yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, okay, fine. We'll talk about it.
I was like,
they treated Avengers like it was like that weird cousin that you don't want to acknowledge you're related to. You're just like, hey, what's up? I don't know that guy. Like
the thing is, because this was the only community that was like desperate for like, a positive reinforcement, right? We were probably the only people that were watching their streams being like, Avengers question. They probably thought the game was really popular. They were like, wow, people really like Avengers.
Yeah, because I remember that stream because I was like it turned out the only games they were like sus on, and that turned out to be an omen for the future were Saints Row reboot and Avengers. Like they spent the beginning like kind of tap dancing around the numbers that Saints Row reboot did and trying very hard not to call too much attention to what they were going to do with Volition, and then they swept the Avengers thing under the rug. I'm like, oh, this isn't good. This is something. Things are happening. But I think if they had gotten that $2 billion investment, obviously Avengers would still be, getting canned, but I think they would obviously have been in a much better position. But once that $2 billion just evaporated, like sounds like literally at the last minute, like they had everything planned out and Saudi pulled out, then it was like, oof.
Like those Saudis are weird though. Like they're trying to dip their hands into everything.
Yeah.
And then it turns out they almost never get anything. It's weird.
It is very. I think it's weird. There's obviously a lot going on in Saudi Arabia, but
their blood money.
Yeah, from my understanding, they were you have a faction that's trying to modernize the country and spread their money around so it's not just relying on oil.
Right.
So they probably don't take video games that seriously. They're just trying to basically diversify their portfolio and just get their hands as much stuff as possible so that whenever the time comes when they can't rely on oil, they at least have something. So I don't know what happened with the Embracer thing, but once they lost that, then suddenly they were like, hey, we just spent a lot of money on studios that aren't making us anything right now. Oh no.
They have their the Saudi something fund, and they were trying to use that to buy WWE. That fell through. I'm pretty sure they wanted to buy one of the Premier League teams, and I don't think that happened either. I think they ended up like paying like Messi or somebody like that like $1 trillion to just play there for like a year instead. Like they paid him like what it would cost to like pay half of the NHL for the full season for like 1 year or something. I think it was Messi.
Makes
It
sense.
was one of them. I don't know.
I don't
A
know.
British expert could.
Yeah,
I know how much you love
Mate,
sports ball.
You're
no idea.
you're British. You're obligated to know everything there is about
Footy.
footy.
Oh, it was Cristiano
I have no
Ronaldo.
idea.
There we go. Yeah. So Steven knows what I'm talking about. But like they paid
You confuse Ronaldo and Messi. Oh no, they're coming for you, Jay.
Those
I
are the only
mean,
2 football players,
canceled.
isn't it?
yeah, like they're like the 2 biggest in the world. So I got one of them mixed up. I mean, I'm sorry.
They're very passionate about their footy.
Yeah.
Mr. Blast. Forgive him. It's calm, bruvs. It's calm.
Yeah. So, but like, it's just weird though because like they're trying to like buy everything, and they just don't. So it just makes me wonder. Like,
And I noticed with Saudi Arabia, the best they really are able to do like events really well. So they do a lot of boxing events, like huge ones. Obviously, they got the WWE stuff that they do. Like they're masterminds at getting these mega events on where they get like a ton of money into the country through that and tourism and everything else. But when it comes to like Jay said about deals and stuff, they suck. Like there is a totally different ball game.
Is it them just sucking, or is there some like regulatory blocking, or like what the hell is going on?
No, there's something like WWE has an event there. They do have the Crown Jewel event pay-per-view every year. And this year I think was fine, but the year before, like something really weird happened during the show, and they like held the plane at the airport for like hours because like one of the wrestlers said something, and like they're like it's just as weird. I don't know. Like
no one talks about it either. It's really it's quite scary.
Right. No one talks about it because exactly that reason. And there are some guys that refuse to even go just because of like, it's the whole
human rights violation.
Yeah,
the assassination of a journalist.
yeah. So like it's like it's odd. And I have a feeling that like
to be fair, Jay, they did recently allow women to drive on their own. So
they're progressive.
They're basically San Francisco right now.
That's even the thing, though.
I mean, like, Saudi Arabia is basically woke now.
Like I'm pretty sure
too woke.
Women can drive on their own. Like what next?
I think it was Becky Lynch and Natty Neidhart. I think they were the first 2 women to ever have a professional wrestling match in Saudi Arabia. I think it was those 2, and they had to basically wear like stuff covering like toe to throat,
neck,
like
like
they were wearing like sweatsuits basically. And it's weird.
Really, I have a Saudi Arabia related news topic that popped up today. Spider-Man 2 has been officially approved for release in the Middle East. We just got that news.
Say goodbye to that pride flag.
Yeah 100%. But so if it's approved in Saudi Arabia, that means some representation was definitely cut. So but
they removed all women driving NPCs.
Every NPC is now a straight white male or a Saudi Arabian gentleman.
So, and it's funny. It's not even just. There are actually some weird instances throughout gaming history where that type of thing happens. Obviously, in China, they have to remove like any skulls
or black people.
And black people and stuff like that.
But poster incident.
But also like in Germany. Like even in like Call of Duty or Wolfenstein, especially, like there's no Nazi flags.
Oh yeah, they're very, very sensitive for good reason. They're very sensitive about the World War II stuff over in Germany.
Yeah. So speaking of Nazi Germany, back to the Crystal Dynamics situation.
Absolutely.
I felt like that was a pretty good segue.
I mean, we haven't mentioned Brian Wagner yet, so yeah, definitely, very, 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 very relevant. Crystal Dynamics fired 9 people. Embracer Group is considering getting rid of more studios. I mean, now we're talking about. We'll get into the Xbox Xbox leak disaster later, but it's very possible that we've heard that Gearbox is kind of either on for sale or they're considering going independent. I can easily see Crystal Dynamics getting potentially bought by Microsoft. That seems like a Microsoft thing to do. I mean, they're already clearly Embracer's trying to unload some stuff, but
They'd probably buy them for pennies on the dollar at this point.
Embracer already kind of got some money for Crystal Dynamics, because even though they acquired Crystal Dynamics as part of that larger deal, they immediately sold off some of the Tomb Raider stuff to Amazon and basically have Amazon paying for the game. And I think they also pay for the rights to make movies and shows based on Tomb Raider. So they pretty much got their value out of Crystal Dynamics already. So they could sell them and make a nice little profit to Microsoft. I mean, there's that connection because they're already working with Microsoft on Perfect Dark, which according to what I've heard is an absolute shit show behind the scenes. It's way behind schedule.
Is this the one that they were going to be using Unreal Engine for, or were they still using their dog shit engine?
I know they basically abandoned the Foundation engine when they started working on the new Tomb Raider game. So for that, they're on Unreal 5. I don't know what Perfect Dark was, because Perfect Dark wasn't originally their game. The studio they had that was really working on Perfect Dark, basically everyone just bailed on the product. Like people just were falling off the project left and right. They originally had Crystal Dynamics just working as a support studio, and now because they lost so many people on that original team, from my understanding, Crystal Dynamics is basically running the entire Perfect Dark project right now. So in addition to the Tomb Raider thing, so it's pretty wild over there. So I definitely see Microsoft just being like, yeah, this
and they're not very elegant with their resources, are they? Like, they don't just gently shift people. It's a whole chop over there.
Yeah, I've heard that some of our favorite people from Marvel's Avengers is currently working on Perfect Dark. some faces you would definitely recognize.
The combat designer of Marvel's Avengers, Dr. Bo, now over there.
Currently I think the latest Unreal is Unreal 5.2, 5.3.
Yeah, didn't they just launch Unreal 5 last year?
Yeah, Unreal 5 is pretty new. I mean, we haven't even had many games releasing yet that are even using Unreal. They have a lot of games in development. I think the first game this year actually that might have been released that's on Unreal 5 is First Descendants, and that one's not current gen exclusive, but it was built in Unreal. I mean, obviously besides Fortnite, which went upgraded from Unreal 4 to 5, but that's not a new game at all. But yeah, we still haven't seen a game that fully harnesses the power and potential of Unreal 5 yet. It's one of the things we've been looking forward to yet. It sounds like we're going to wait a long time for that Tomb Raider game to see if they're going to utilize the power of Unreal 5, because I think the timetable Crystal Dynamics was supposed to be under was they were supposed to at least have some kind of an announcement reveal by the end of 2023. I heard they were trying to get something out by Summer Game Fest, but obviously that didn't happen. So maybe by the Game Awards.
It's creeping up.
It's creeping up. They said, not Embracer said that they weren't, that their restructuring wasn't going to impact the development of Tomb Raider or Crystal Dynamics, but obviously, and most of the people pretty much all the people they fired except one person was on marketing. So maybe Crystal Dynamics is fine in that regard for now, but who knows at this point? I mean, Embracer is just
think about it. What do they have to market at this point anyway? You know what I mean?
I mean, it's not like they were marketing anything to begin with even when they had a full department.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, it's quite shocking to see a DM and there's a link in it and oh, look at this. And I'm like, wait, I can't see it.
Yeah.
Wait, am I blocked?
Yeah, Jay just found out that he's the latest to be blocked by our boy Nick, formerly of Crystal Dynamics.
And I don't understand it.
If it makes you feel any better, Jay, I had the same problem with Mia Khalifa. So
True.
Yeah,
True.
that was an exchange and a half.
yeah, that was crazy. Listen, I was proud of that XXX joke.
That was a very good one.
Thank you, man.
Well, Stardust earned that block. Jay did not.
I don't know. Like, the funny thing is that like I don't remember having a very negative interaction with Nick at all.
I don't think you did it. I literally don't think you did it at all.
And I actually think I defended him quite often behind the scenes.
You probably did,
to my detriment. Like, I think sometimes people were like, oh, why are you even like, nah, just give us this one, And it was like, I never really remember having any, like, I mean, he was lazy as fuck. He didn't want to do anything, but like,
true.
I mean, at the same time, like,
company motto.
Yeah. Like I just remember once Andy left, everything kind of fell on him and he like didn't do shit.
To be fair, he did talk shit about Miller on Reddit.
Yeah.
And Twitter.
I'll never forget the time somebody else mentioned this. It reminded me, but like it's so true. The time that like Trix like bookmarked his on Reddit where he was like remind
6 months, because someone said the game would basically be dead after, I think they said something like the game would basically there'd be nothing after like Winter Soldier or something, the game would be dead.
Turns out how that reminder worked out.
Yeah. Yeah, worked out with Trix getting blocked.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if somebody doesn't want me to see their tweets that I never followed Nick to begin with, so like, and I barely knew that he existed. Okay,
most people don't. His
so like to see that I was blocked, I was like, okay,
you were blocked by association, Jay.
That was the problem with like a few of the Crystal Dynamics kind of developers, is they didn't like, and this might sound a bit harsh out of context, but from what we all experienced, it makes sense that a lot of the developers wanted to not just be devs, but also personalities. Like Wagner, before we saw all the tweets and stuff, was like, Avengers dev plays Avengers on Twitch, right? And he'll be at the top of the category. You'll jump in. Obviously, you're attracting Avengers players, right? So the first thing they're going to do is go, when is insert character come in, when's this happening? And he'd immediately get angry, like cross, like red. And like, he would like start like moaning at the chat and shit. I was like, take Avengers dev out then. It's like, disassociate yourself. Like, what are you doing?
He did that on Marvel Heroes too.
None of the responsibilities.
Yeah, he would do that on Marvel Heroes too. Like I've talked about this a lot, and like Brian and I go way back. I used to be very cool with Brian until I wasn't.
Ooh, careful.
And not like, I mean, like, I don't know, like
I knew the guy before.
We shared views.
I don't agree with any of his views on minorities. I had no idea.
Yeah. I did have an idea. That's the thing, though. Like, none of that was a secret. None of that was a secret. Like, I watched him tweet that stuff, and like in the context of the moment,
well, like over his shoulder.
No. Okay. No, but like
he was brushing a lint off of his white hood.
But I didn't see all of them, but I always looked at those tweets as like, all right, he is your typical Republican. Like, I'm not gonna like, I don't agree, but like, I'm not gonna like I can't sit here and like, I don't agree with going after his job because he's a Republican.
This is before cancel culture. Jay did not.
No, cancel culture was going on when these tweets were happening.
Jay, I'm trying to help you.
Right. Well,
let me help.
Jay was younger back then. Okay, he's learned since then.
We were all younger back then. That's how time works.
He was just a kid. You guys.
He was just a kid.
Yeah. No. I never really thought anything of it because, like, you see that type of stuff every day, and I didn't see everything. Obviously, he had some bad ones, but
he missed the worst ones. You know, he saw just kind of the light was. He didn't see the worst of it, so he had no idea.
Yeah, but like I don't know. I just he deserved everything he got, but at the same time, like not for the reasons that people did it. So
yeah,
but
he deserved to lose his job because he was
terrible at it.
Terrible, absolutely terrible. As even employees at the company, we said about him behind the scenes, they say he had no idea what the hell he was doing. He was incredibly petty, thin-skinned. He picked favorites. He basically promoted anyone who kissed his ass.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this: a lot of people try to blame him for Marvel's Heroes Omega's downfall.
Yeah. Surprisingly, there was actually a worse villain.
Yeah,
than Brian.
It was definitely not. Even though him and I have zero relationship at this point, which I actually like. I'm sad about.
Don't say that, Jay.
No, I will say that because even if he is a terrible person, there was a time when I don't think he was that villain, and we were
so
cool.
young. We were also young.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like you see somebody that changes and it sucks. The fact that him and I were no longer cool was 100% on him. You know, like I never understood it. He just lost his shit on me one day. And I was like, all right, bro, peace. I'm out. Don't need it. You know?
I mean, definitely worked out for you.
And then he showed up on Avengers. I'm like, oh, fuck. And I treated him professionally. I was like, if you were in that Discord, you would never know that him and I had a history.
I was like, not, as you well know, Jay.
I know, that's why I said it that way.
And I wasn't either. So you're just speaking to Johnny right now.
Yeah. I'm getting my validation. But Johnny knew that we had a history. But like, if he didn't know we had a history, he wouldn't have known we had a history. You got that?
Well, to me, like to my recollection of things, it was so funny that like I remember Brian arriving in that Discord and he was all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and had all these positive things to say. And then do you remember about the time the tweet came out that just had 8 hours of meetings and the future looks bright? Remember that shit?
Yeah.
They got all the fanboys fired up. Behind the scenes, that's when passive-aggressive Brian started.
Yeah,
it was like he found out that it's it was like the mandate came down. You have to sell this as everything is fine, but we're going to be milking skins for the next X amount of months, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like he just become a different dude in the way he treated the creators and everybody at large.
Because he realized it was literally he was already on a sinking ship. Now he was on a sinking ship that just got hit with a torpedo.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm so glad Andy got out when he did.
Oh, it was great. He took the perfect time to bail.
Yeah, it really showed you as well, like how much Andy was doing, right? Because I had absolutely no experience with community stuff at all with games, so I didn't know what the norm was anyway. So like for me back in the day, I thought, man, I wish we got more stuff. In fact, everyone probably said that. But then when Andy went, it got even worse. So we were like, damn, like bro was really carrying the ship. Like
no wonder he didn't get any sleep.
Yeah, I know. I talked to Andy once and he's like, they've got me doing everything, and like we didn't go that much deeper, but like it made sense, and you could see it when he left. Because like they were all just like, what do we do? Oh, yeah, I think that was kind of the point where with that Discord in general, once Nell and Kat left, and once Andy was gone, like the people that were left were like, what do we do with this?
They couldn't even post the blog consistently without error.
Yeah,
they didn't even know how to.
And that's sad. That's actually pathetic. Like to be a social media manager and you can't even over the course of like 6 or more months figure out how to send a fucking tweet that didn't 404 error every time.
It was like routine.
That's pathetic. And that's why that whole squad, unfortunately, is no longer with Crystal Dynamics.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess Sadat brought up that like all these articles out here are like citing dude as like, oh, this person laid off and they have this to say, like they're some kind of hero. If only they knew.
Oh yeah. Well, far as I know, this woman who worked there is getting most of the sympathy. People are just kind of citing Nick because at first people thought it was just Kristen Evans is firing people, but he confirmed it's because of Embracer. It's not because of the Kristen Evans issue. It's because Big Daddy Embracer is not raining down as much money as before, so they gotta trim the fat.
And they probably did an audit and found out he was the fat. And I think any of us could confirm that. And that's the thing. Like, you end up in all, like, I've been a part of many different smaller
fair and casual
group what's the word I'm looking for? Creator groups, or if you will. And like the things that they could do is like so much more, you know? Like, I don't think anybody in actually what it turned out after I started the storm out the door, where I was like, if you guys want to treat Bob like this, I'm out. And then High Ruler and Johnny also left. Like, I feel like that rewarded everybody that didn't come with us.
Hold on,
you know,
Jay. Don't take credit for the accomplishments of Tony Bing.
Yeah,
he was the one.
Right.
He was the one that started the.
I forgot that guy.
All right, everyone, calm down.
I honestly forgot that guy existed.
Bing Bong was the pioneer. Who started the mass exodus from the
except everybody was like, thank God.
Yeah, no one followed him, but still he planted the seed.
No, and like I just was like, no, this is ridiculous. Like, you can't do this. It was like honestly one of the most unprofessional things I've been a part. Like, honestly, it's the second most unprofessional thing I've ever had to deal with the first one being I went to a Slayer Killswitch Engage concert. I interviewed Kerry King from Slayer and his wife for a tattoo magazine. And while we were chatting, I had gone to the show the night before in Worcester. We were in Providence, Rhode Island. And I'm talking to Kerry King, the literal guitarist of fucking Slayer. And I'm like, hey, man, I shot last night's show, but I didn't know I was going to be here tonight. Can we work out that I could shoot tonight? And he goes, yeah, man, you're good. I got you. So I also shot Killswitch Engage. And as it turns out, that night, Jesse Leach came out for the first time since he left. And both Howard and Jesse, the two singers, performed for the first time. So the next morning, I emailed my contact at Roadrunner, which is the label for Killswitch. And I'm like, hey, man, Jesse came out last night. Here's some pictures. If you want to use them, feel free. And he's like, why the fuck were you shooting photos of Killswitch? I didn't approve it. I'm like, oh, Kerry King from Slayer said it was okay. And I also talked to Adam D, the bassist for Killswitch, and he said it was cool too. So, and I shot it the night before. So I didn't think it would be that big of a deal since the headlining band approved it. And he goes, Killswitch Engage is a Grammy-nominated band. You have to go through me. I'm like, well, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize this would be an issue. I've never had an issue like this before when I've been approved by the headlining band, especially when it's the guitarist of the band, which is one of the biggest bands in the world. Just the guy's still ripping into me. So I went over his head because, like, his boss is somebody who is literally the reason I have Thor, by the way. Like, his boss and I were close to the point where, like, that's why I have Thor as her. So, like, I'm like, Amy, why is this guy flipping out on me? And I think she neutered him after that. But that was probably the most unprofessional thing I've ever dealt with in any form of publicist related stuff. And that whole Brian thing was right there with it.
Wow,
you know what I mean?
Brian has a bigger ego than a music publicist. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's an accomplishment.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like, that whole thing, like, for those that don't know, basically Bob, what was his video about? It was about, like, how to go from 0 to 50.
150 in 30 minutes.
Yeah. Literally nothing, like, not even a big deal. I think it was actually 150 power, right? Like, who cares? Okay. And like, and it's a video we've all made, and Brian, like, lost his shit. Like, why would you post something like this without bringing it to me first? Like, well, because I don't have to.
Yes.
Well, we have a professional relationship here, and if you're gonna make a video that like is going to make us look bad, like it doesn't make you look bad. It just makes it easier. Like, why should people have to struggle to get to 150? Like, it's not even necessary. Like, you put these methods in the game.
Not even Brian. Like he inherited these methods that they didn't even put any thought into. Like there's literally no purpose of anything before 150.
My favorite part of the exchange was like they're going because we're all glued to Discord reading this shit, right?
So was I.
So Bob gets real smart ass at the end of it. He's like, "Oh, okay, Brian. So I guess I should just run all my content by you here on." And Brian's like, "Yeah, that'll be fine." Like just unaware that it was pretty priceless.
It was insane, and then it happened again at one point, and I was just like nah, we're not doing this. I'm out. Like, listen, I appreciate everything, but later,
Jay left before the weekly beating started.
Yeah, and then once
began.
Once myself, Johnny, and High Ruler were the martyrs, everybody else started getting every skin every week.
To be fair, we all eventually got every skin. So
I suppose
you can get every skin right now for $4.99 or $3.99.
Yeah. So like it's like I don't feel bad. All right. I don't know all 9 people that lost their job, but the ones who I do know, I don't really feel bad because like I obviously didn't see everything that they did, but I feel like I saw everything they did, which was nothing.
I saw enough of Nick to know that his loss is no loss. It's an addition by subtraction.
There was one developer that wasn't like, so he I won't mention names purely because I've forgotten, but I know he was in Discord for a little bit. He was a bit of a cowboyish kind of guy. Maybe you guys ran into him. His picture was like him in like a hat, and he was like a bit of a sort of redneck kind of looking dude. It was, like kind of what you imagine Cletus Cassidy to look like if he was wearing a hat all the time and wasn't drawn in a comic. But basically he did the player enemy and traversal stuff, pet stuff. And I remember asking him like, what about air takedowns, right? Would you ever do something, would you ever do something like that? I think it was. And he said, oh no, we just don't have the capabilities for that. And then Spider-Man came out, who he was working on, who had air takedowns. And then and then he was, because it was when Allfather made his Discord for a little bit. So Devs would sort of pop in and out, and he was like in there. He was drunk like all the time, and on shift as well. He would be in there on shift, according to himself, drinking. And he'd say, "Right, guys, my friends are over. Just give me a minute." And he'd go and like talk to friends and everything. He would talk about like it was crazy. And I remember one night we got into like a conversation about an emote wheel, and we were all like, "You sell emotes." Emote wheel makes sense. It's just a very easy progression, know. And he was like, "Oh no, see, what about griefing? What happens if the player emotes too much and you want to go into the next room?" I'm like, "Do you not play your own game? There's a timer for that." Like, what are you talking about? And then he was talking about, what about a heroic wheel? I was like, what are you talking about? And he said, so you can switch out your heroics. I was like, you guys can't do new animations for like. There's no chance. What are you talking about? And I was like, you're gonna need to lay off the whiskey. Like my friend Burst EG was getting really heated in this conversation. He was like, "Bro, what are you talking about?" Like it got pretty tense. And did he
ever explain how they magically discovered the ability to do air takedowns?
No, like because I remember I brought it up to him. I said like about the air takedowns, and he was like, no, I was talking about something else. Like I was like, oh, okay. I don't know how you.
Oh, so he's just drunk.
Air takedowns.
So he was just drunk when you asked him. Okay.
Yeah, it literally must have been. Like there was no other way. And shortly after he went off to do Perfect Dark. So hopefully he's having fun on that because his only experience pre-Avengers was a Battlefield mod.
Oh well. Sounds like
So
sounds like Perfect Dark got a perfect edition. Explains perfectly why I've heard all the things I've heard about how development is going over there.
yeah, he's probably the head guy.
Chris would never accept their best. No, the head guy is as far as I know. Well, one of the head guys is our good friend Phil. from what I heard, Phil is a big. Last I heard, Phil is a big shot over there on Perfect Dark, and things are going. I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure we'll hear something eventually from that game in 5 years or so.
He left Perfect Dark.
Can I just say he left Perfect Dark? Oh no, not Phil. Now
Phil needs to go off to Capcom and do the community streams with Andy. That's what needs to happen. He needs to run it.
We definitely need that reading again. Phil and Andy together again. Talk about Street Fighter 6 instead.
He finally escapes over to Capcom, and suddenly Marvel vs. Capcom 4 comes out.
He's like, not again.
Shit.
I bet. Actually, that would be pretty lit.
It would be pretty exciting, but I don't think they'd want the audience again.
No, I could imagine the tweets. Marvel vs. Capcom 4. Oh no, here we go. Marvel's Avengers 2.0.
I honestly go ahead, Johnny.
Oh, I was just gonna say, in any games of the service game that comes out now is Avengers 2.0 automatically anyway, right?
Yeah, I was actually about to say the same thing. Essentially, it's like I feel like we're at a point where it doesn't matter what the game is. Like, people are just gonna bitch about it. It has to fit their headcanon, and if it's not there, then it's trash.
The only live service game so far I've seen that hasn't got that Avengers label is First Ascendant. I actually saw a meme that said it's actually that the game is actually called Tom Clancy's Destiny plus Anime Girls Warframe, which is accurate.
I have seen lots of Warframe and Destiny comparisons. I was watching Moxie play it. I met him at the Redfall event.
Yeah,
cool dude, pretty big streamer on Twitch.
Yeah, I follow him too.
Yeah, I was watching him play, and it looks interesting. He seems really into it, so
yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I unlocked Bunny, so I'm enjoying
caked
my.
Up.
I get two of my favorite things: cake and a speedster, all in one character.
There you go.
Yeah, I just don't know. Like, to be fair, he was like running the same mission over and over again, and effectively like labbing.
Yeah, he's basically farming resources because you start with you have 3 characters to choose from at the start, and then you can get the rest of the characters by basically purchasing them with the resources that you earn.
Yeah,
you do the same thing for weapons. Basically, you have like crafting quest lines, and you just farm resources to put towards them. So he's basically maxed out at this point, so he's probably just farming so he can get all the characters and the different weapons.
Yeah, I like to be random whenever I go onto people's streams, though. He had music going on in the background, and at the time when I joined the stream, Stained was playing, and I was like, oh my god. So I just commented, man, the first concert I ever went to by myself was Stained, Seven Dust, and Creed.
Oh, first concert I ever went to by myself was Beyonce. So
I mean, I've been to a couple before that. So technically my first concert ever, like with an actual real performer, was in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina during Desert Storm. My dad brought me to see Lee Greenwood. Now you might be asking yourself, who is Lee Greenwood? And I guarantee you one of his songs you know by heart. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
I actually don't know,
you know that song
by heart because I'm not a bigot.
Anyway, so
never heard it.
I wasn't sharing Spotify playlists with Brian Wagner, I'm afraid.
Sorry. I haven't been to any MAGA rallies lately, so I'm unaware of that song.
So in 1991, this song was like on every channel.
I was 3 years old, but go ahead.
Okay, so basically, but if you don't count that, the first concert, actually, this was the first concert I went to by myself with my cousin Jeremy. We went to see Boyz II Men, Babyface, and Belle Biv DeVoe, I think. And then I saw Kiss after that.
Okay, I know that one.
I'm familiar. I know that's the ones with the makeup, right?
Yeah,
And
my
the
uncle
tongue,
used
and
to
the one's
work
got
for
a really
Kiss.
long tongue thingy.
Yeah.
Yeah, my uncle used to work for Kiss, and they have had dinner at my grandparents' house.
Were they wearing the makeup? Were they like
no? They're out of makeup.
Did they at least have the tight pants?
I don't know what they were wearing. I wasn't there.
You weren't there. How could you, Jay?
I mean, I'm pretty sure my dad was in the Marines. I was living in North Carolina.
So you missed the chance to have dinner with Kiss?
I did. And even worse, I missed the opportunity to go meet them every time they've been on tour in the last like 10 years. But my mom didn't. And my mom has like a very professional picture with Kiss.
You should invite some of the members on the podcast.
I seriously doubt that we're gonna get actually here we go. Let me show you this picture of my mom, her sister, and brother-in-law with Kiss a few years ago.
Yeah, this I gotta see.
Yeah, hold on. And they're in full makeup as well. Let's see. Window. My mom is on the right. So there they all and her sister's the one with the cane, and my uncle Russ is in the middle. He is no longer with us, unfortunately, but yeah, there they all are with Kiss. Could have been me.
They look so out of place.
They do,
don't they? They
100%
cutouts.
100%.
This looks 100. I'm sorry, Jay. This looks photoshopped.
It really. I don't blame you for feeling that way. I really don't. But I promise you, 100% real.
This looks like one of those setups they'll have like they had a concert where you could like get your picture taken with Kiss, and they'll have like a lifelike
right.
tropic.
Yeah. Well, so part of the issue also is that like that's been like posted and saved like 47 times through Facebook. So it's like gradually depleted in quality. So and
it
I
looks like Kiss just have their contrast turned up all the way
yeah.
in the picture.
Yeah, but no, like that could have been me, but yeah, I declined to go. So next time they're around, I've decided, I've told my uncle to get us in because his best friend still works for them. Him and his best friend worked for them for ages, and then when my uncle got married, he decided to settle down and work at the post office.
So you can definitely get him on the podcast. You're basically family.
I mean, we might be able to get Keith on the podcast. I think Keith runs the fan club. But I mean, I don't know.
Keith, same thing.
Yeah,
basically.
I know that I know my uncle worked closely with Eric Carr, who I believe was the drummer, and I think passed away. So.
But let's be real, Eastwood. Your first big concert was Shakespeare. You're old.
But
yeah, banging Mozart solo.
But yeah, anyway, that's how I made my entrance into that. I like to just like, there's two things I like to do if I'm in somebody's stream. Number one, say nothing. Just be there, just watch, be a +1 to their number, and just kind of like, I absolutely hate it when people like see that I'm lurking and call me out. Like, no, don't do that. I will leave.
And number two is of course flex.
And no, number two is just be fucking completely random. Like say something, like I'll hear that somebody say something and I'll respond based on that, just random.
That explains why Jay will just randomly pop into my streams and say the power of Christ compels you.
Yeah.
I always wonder if that was like a code for something, but nope, that's just a part of the J rules.
He learned that one from Wagner, right?
It's coded into the DNA, every so often it comes out.
Well, Wagner said a different kind of power when he was in my streams.
I'm trying to think of something. I just about spit this everywhere. That was good. I was trying to think of something worse, but I'm not like that, so I can't.
You're fine, Jay. You have glasses. You're bringing intellectual and distinguishedness to the panel now. So you don't have to come up with any dirty or witty one-liners. Just
I'll take that. Yeah. Anyway,
a calming face.
he had plays which were basically the concert of his day.
That's right.
Because they had pretty much no technology. So that's all they had.
So is our slagging on the downfall of people's jobs and livelihoods, is that over at this point, or do we have more to pile on?
Thinking we didn't pile on Volition, but I mean the sales charts did that for us. So
yeah, I've seen some people that are like, oh, you can't say that they only shut them down because of Saints Row, and you're not technically wrong, but you can when you consider that it was like the third flop in a row they put out.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it wasn't that. I mean, that one game didn't help,
right?
But yeah, they had basically not released a profitable game in like a decade.
Yeah, they were living by like re-releasing Saints Row, all the games together in different packages and platforms.
Yeah.
And like the game before Saints Row reboot was a new game that they put out called Agents of Mayhem, which was actually really fun, but like it just tanked.
People just want Saints Row. Like that's what went wrong with this remaster, besides all the actual problems with it, and besides, the bugs and everything. I think it was also the fact it was just a straight out reboot that people were immediately like, no. See, here's the thing. They could have made so much money if they just made a Saints Row 2 remaster or remake.
That's it.
All right. And then literally that's it. Like, it just milk that cow for as long as you want while you're trying to like cook. But instead they felt like they were trying to rush like a Saints Row game out. But it doesn't have the same name value as GTA, right? When you think of Saints Row, you think of like Johnny Gat, you think of, Sean D, Pierce, those sort of people. You don't think of like random kid with student loans who's does internet memes while he's driving along. And
I mean, clearly you're not a professional video game industry person, because everyone knows no one cares about, popular fan favorite characters. The biggest way to draw new customers is to have characters with purple hair talking about late stage capitalism, as we all know. Nothing's more fun for that in a video game than being lectured. It did not go well. That combined 10 years of flops, basically combined with their latest flop, and then $2 billion literally just evaporating was a bit too much, and they could no longer justify it.
Seemed like they put a lot of stock on Saints Row as well, because like the streams before the Saints Row came out, they really seemed excited for the money it was going to bring in, and I don't know why, because Saints Row has never been like a colossal success. It was never like GTA competitor. It was just like a very comfortable sort of, not even really second place. Yeah, I guess so. Saints Row 2 was like, and then once the series kind of, started moving away from trying to be like GTA, ended up going batshit insane, and then less people liked it, but there was still like a niche there, so you could milk that niche, and then they just went get out of hell, and then they ruined it. They went too far.
I personally love the superhero one. Thought that was fun.
I love the fact that you can still customize cars despite having super speed.
Yeah. I love that game was so random. You had the dubstep gun. That game was awesome. I was a big fan of that. That was back when I still had it was the one and only time I owned the Xbox. That during that era, I had the Xbox 360, and I never got another Xbox before or after that. But I enjoyed my 360. I was playing the Saints Row. I was playing my Fable 2 for like 300 hours. I was just constantly playing Fable 2 and Fable 1. Little State of Gay. What happened to those days? I miss those days of Xbox. Gave me reason to want to play something other than PlayStation all the time. Hope we.
Excuse me. Should we talk about Starfield again?
I mean, it's a great game.
I mean,
I thoroughly enjoyed until Mortal Kombat came out.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people had that same reaction. Some more harsher than others, but currently the bigger story than Starfield is the Xbox leak. That's all anyone's talking about now. Xbox just leaked itself. In fact, it wasn't Miller this time, or Jeff Grubb or Schreier. They just pulled an oopsie while providing court documents, and I mean some of the stuff is like absolutely crazy. Like they actually were considering buying Nintendo and basically owning fucking Steam, like the store, like the actual storefront. It's like, yeah, let's buy that. Yeah, Steam, yeah, let's buy that. like that's just out of control. Like, at this point, like they really just were like, what is regulation? Like they just
we talked a little bit about this before. I first of all, like you saw how hard it was for Activision to go through, and the UK, those blokes, Stardust people, finally appears.
Bloody wankers.
Those wankers finally woke up, and it seems as though they've tentatively approved the deal finally.
But after how long? You know,
I know.
It was my fault. I wanted Bethesda games on PlayStation. I personally went down there and said, "Guys, can you wait?"
I believe it. And so basically, that's finally going through. There is no chance in hell with what Activision did, or what happened with Activision, that Nintendo would ever go, like a Nintendo purchase would ever go through for either Xbox or PlayStation.
Yeah, not only would Nintendo just stubbornly not sell, but the regulators would like, no fucking way. We're absolutely not letting this happen. Were you kidding? Were you high?
I do think that, like, I saw the remark that Phil made in one of the emails, and it was something to the effect of, Nintendo is just sitting on boatloads of money with inferior hardware. Like, these games, like, they should become a third-party studio. These games would sell even more than it is now, being a third-party title on other platforms. And I can't even imagine, because like there are a lot of people that outright refuse to buy a Nintendo Switch. All right,
myself included.
Right. So like I just can't even imagine how much forward it would push all these like games that are already beloved on the Nintendo Switch, like your Mario Brother games, like your Zelda games, like your Pokemon games. Like, I'm going to be honest with you right now, like the Pokemon games are living 10 years in the past. They look terrible on TVs. They look okay if you're playing on a handheld with like a 9-inch screen. Okay, you got me. These are built for 9-inch screens. Okay, sure. When you stretch it to a 4K TV, they're washed out. And like just, can you imagine Pokemon Legends Arceus actually felt fresh, and then they came out with Scarlet and Violet, and it was like going backwards in time. And I just would love to see Arceus, an Arceus style game on PlayStation, on Xbox, absolutely, with these graphics. Like, it would be insane, because Arceus was great. But not that I don't like, Scarlet and Violet for what they are. They're fun games, but like, just imagine them with good graphics.
One of my dream games still is like a console Pokemon game that's like just like an open world adventure with like really good modern graphics. That's one of my dream games.
Yeah, like the Pokemon games are all pretty much open world. Especially, I think Arceus and Scarlet and Violet did a much better job of making them open world, to the point where once you found, your little Pokestop, you could fast travel there at any time, or you could just travel there. Whereas some of the ones that were before that, you kind of had to like follow the path, and you could only go certain places. But it was kind of on rails a little bit. You could go backwards and stuff and fast travel, but it wasn't the same. This is way better. these last two games are way better, but graphically speaking, like it would just be incredible. And like they make the Mario Brothers games look good on the little 9-inch OLED screen.
But
All right.
once you get to 19 inches, it falls apart.
Yeah, once you start getting them up on your monitor in, 1080 or even especially 4K, like they just start to get washed out. And I just like, you can't tell me like the people that are already playing it on Nintendo and love their Switch are going to keep doing that. I feel like if they release these games, and I understand Xbox doesn't put their games on PlayStation and PlayStation doesn't put their games on Xbox. I get that. But if Nintendo did, they would sell, I think they would at least triple their sales.
Yeah,
I would want a hyper realistic 4K Animal Crossing. That's what I would want, where all the animals look like real life animals, and it's just completely real.
But think about some of these like games that are like that though, like even in that cartoony art style, like on a PlayStation or Xbox, they look substantially better than Animal Crossing.
And Nintendo could do this obviously without being bought by either company, but they just
refuse to.
They're just kind of stuck in their ways. They're like, no, we have our lane. We're doing our thing. And I mean, it's working for them, but they're definitely leaving money on the table 100%. Because I would never get a Nintendo Switch, but I would definitely play Tears of the Kingdom on PS5.
Didn't they sort of hint at like another Switch coming out or like another Nintendo console in like next year or like and some change?
Yeah, it's looking like holiday next year.
Yeah,
but
I know,
but it's already 2 generations old.
Yeah,
that's
true,
what they're talking about. It's going to be PS4 powered. So.
Yeah, next year the PS5 Pro is coming, so they got that refresh for both Xbox and PlayStation coming, I think.
Yeah, we also found out there's that like the new Xbox Series X. It's going to be a digital only machine. It's a little bit more rounded, a little more cylindrical, and it has a 2 terabyte hard drive built into it, which it's the same price, $499, as the regular one. And it makes me wonder because, like, one of my big criticisms, I just recently bought this guy right here, the 2 terabyte storage expansion card. Look at that price, $359.99, and that's on sale. Okay,
what a flex!
That's not the point of the flex. Okay, it's actually me. That
actually is the same. I paid $100 on Amazon for my 2 terabyte SSD for my PS5.
Exactly, and look, I love this thing. You literally just take the card, slide it in the back of the Xbox. You're done. Okay.
Yeah. Installing the SSD on the PS5 was substantially more difficult than that.
and no one should have to go through that. But like, for this price, I could probably have 10 terabytes on a PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Maybe 8. All right. So you're telling me though that for the same price as what I have here, the only difference is you're taking out a CD drive and you're putting in an extra terabyte of storage. You're telling me that it's the same price? I refuse to believe that the disc drive is $100 value.
I mean, I don't know, Jay. As someone who got the PS5 instead of the Xbox, if I this kind of appeals to me, like having that 2 terabytes. It's not like I was going to get that many. It's not like there are that many Xbox games to choose from anyway. So 2 terabytes, that'll hold me over well.
Mind you, I bought this because I ran out of space. I had the 1 terabyte card plus the hard drive, and I was just having to delete stuff. So now I got this, and I held off on this for so long. This is one of the biggest missteps that Xbox made, is doing these cards the way they did, because they only worked with Seagate for like the first 3 years. All right, Western Digital just started making some, and it wasn't until then that the price on these started to actually drop. They released it with an exclusive deal with Seagate and no competition, and the prices were ridiculous. And people were like, oh, well, NVE storage is just expensive, so that's just how it is. But now it's not. And
now Microsoft's plans also seem to just be to go like fully cloud in the future. or worst part. But who knows about the future? Because it was also kind of flew under the radar, a comment about how they might reevaluate their being in gaming altogether if they don't see significant improvements in the current trends related to conversions and Game Pass, which would be absolutely devastating for the industry because obviously, there's all these, console war idiots that are raging, and I'm sure there are PlayStation fans that would love it if Xbox didn't put out games anymore. But as a player of the NBA 2K franchise and someone that just in general understands markets and how business works, you don't want a world where Sony, as much as we love them, is the only provider of console games. Okay, because I mean there are issues you can point out already, but if they had a monopoly, like an actual true monopoly on the market, it would be a disaster because there would be consumers would basically have really no real control at that point, because the reason why Sony is continuing to push the envelope and all these years, especially starting from when Xbox first, arrived on the scene and you had the whole PS3 era, the reason why Sony has pushed so hard to improve and be so great is because they had Microsoft breathing down their necks as a true competitor to take away their customers. This is what we've seen time and time again. Competition breeds innovation. The more competitors you have, the better it is for us, the consumer. Prices generally will be a lot better. Products will generally be better. And if you don't have an ecosystem where you have these two companies competing against each other, then there's no incentive to get better. Like we've seen it with 2K. Sure, people have plenty of complaints about it, but what are they actually going to do? Are they going to play NBA Live 19 because that's the last time they put out a game, because they literally ran EA out of the basketball simulation business. There's no one left.
And the same thing happens with Madden. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and FIFA.
There's no competition. There's literally nothing else. So that game is the game. If you want to have a simulation football, basketball, or soccer experience, you get that one game every year, and that's it. Like I saw some just absolute sad cope on NBA 2K Twitter where someone said, "Look, the VC prices for builds are 100K VC less than last year. See, the fans are listening." And I'm like, "Oh yes, it costs only $200 to upgrade your one character's attributes instead of 300. You're winning." Also,
Right.
Also, they forgot the fact that the reason why they didn't have to push prices this year for builds is because they added a new microtransaction item, the paid battle pass, which has perks on there that will allow you to address one of the biggest problems in the game, which is they revamped the badge system. So previously you would just grind the game, either My Career or Park Games or whatever, to unlock badges to improve your character's skills. But this time around, the badges regress. So if you earn a level of badge, if you don't use them enough, or if the perk is glitched and the badge doesn't activate enough, then you'll lose your progress progressively on the badge, unless you drop $50 on the season pass and get the floor spreader and all these other perks that either slow progression or allow you to keep certain badges safe. Only $50, on top of the $200 to max out the entire build, and they call that winning. Like that's what I'm saying. Like if they had like 3 other competitive simulation basketball games, they would actually listen when players complain about VC prices, because they're like, okay, well, if we don't listen to the players, then they can go to these other games potentially on the market. But because that's the only game in town, they can just say, go fuck yourself.
Well, and to like go back specifically to the Microsoft versus Xbox thing, like if you love your PS5, you owe that to Xbox. Because like if you go back to the earliest PS5 dev kits that got released, the very first run, it was basically a PS4 Pro with DDR5 RAM and a terabyte hard drive. That's what they were shooting for the PS5 to be, because the cost to build was so low because they had so many of those parts in supply. And then when Microsoft sent out the first Series X, and they're like, holy shit, this is a 2080 PC. Like Sony had to go back to the drawing board because they knew they had to match what Microsoft was doing. So that's a prime example. Sony is an old school Japanese company that they care about their market share and their profits. So if the competition goes away, they will give you the lowest minimal effort because there's no reason for them to push innovation or to try and match anybody, right? So
that's why as much as the fanboys want to go back and forth on Twitter about the corporations that they don't work for, you actually don't want either of them to lose. I
100%.
I will happily make fun of the fanboys, but at the end of the day, I want Xbox to be great. I want Sony to be great. I want everyone on both sides to have great games and stop whining about each other.
I did see something really interesting.
Ships,
oh,
right?
sorry, Johnny.
No,
wait.
go
ahead. Okay, right. I did see something quite interesting though in the things where it said that originally, I might be wrong here, this might have been photoshopped because it's Twitter, but they did have like a little PlayStation logo at one point under Starfield that it was gonna be on there, but then they said no to that, and it was gonna be.
That's the reason why they bought Activision.
That's so interesting to me because
they bought Bethesda to push Starfield
or Bethesda. You're right.
Off of PlayStation. Yes,
that is literally the reason why they bought Bethesda, was because they found out it was going to be PS exclusive, and they wanted it, and that's where they were like, "All right, let's just buy Bethesda."
Yeah.
What made them like? What was it about Starfield? Obviously, I can't tap into their brains, but I wonder what it was about Starfield that made them like drop a bank on just saying, "Okay, no, we want that," and then we just want the entire company.
Bethesda, they were like, "Oh, Fallout in space, yeah."
Well, and this has been Todd Howard's fashion project for 25 years. Like that's how he said how long he's had the idea for this game. So I'm sure internally the buzz was huge.
And it's not even just that. Like it's Bethesda, first of all. So yeah, it's Starfield, part of it, but they also knew they were getting everything else to go with it. Those emails also confirmed Elder Scrolls 6 not going to be on PlayStation.
We knew.
We all knew that was going to happen, but it's like officially.
Obviously, Microsoft spun all their bullshit when they made these acquisitions. Like, oh no, we're just trying to make it for everybody. Don't worry about it.
But why would they? PlayStation, all the studios they bought, they never put those games on for everybody.
I'm saying everyone should just be honest about it. Yeah.
Right.
We bought Bethesda because fuck them.
I can't a piece of that pie, like 100%. No, because that's one of the biggest complaints was like Xbox didn't have any games, or at least of their own, right? They were like, okay, then I'm gonna buy Bethesda. Here's a fucking game, and then like people on PlayStation were all of a sudden like really angry about it. And I'm like, guys, check your shelves. There's like 10 games that only we could play. What are you talking about?
And it's not even just that. Like that's the part that cracks me up, is that like it is all the fanboys that just sat there and like, oh, Xbox has no games, that drove Xbox to go out and start trying to acquire studios. They like, PlayStation didn't just create all of their studios. Like they went out and they bought studios just the same. Yeah, some of these studios had previously only been making games for PlayStation, but they were still independent and free to do whatever. Insomniac, one of them, the game before Spider-Man that they made was that skate game for Xbox.
Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, Sunset Overdrive. So like that was an Xbox exclusive, and they made that, and then they went back over, and I think they made a Ratchet and Clank, and then Sony said, "Nah, you're ours now. We're buying you." But not only that, like, of course, PlayStation doesn't necessarily buy other studios all the time. Instead, what they do is they pay those studios money to not put games on Xbox, and that's a thing too. So it's like there's shadiness all the way around.
It's all about the competition. Yeah, they're trying, which I love. They're trying to beat and one up each other. So I just want the games to actually just be good. Like I don't care that Sony wants to have its exclusive, because I understand like the goal is to convert customers to play on their system, their ecosystem, and in order to do that, you got to incentivize them largely with games, which PlayStation so far has done better. And that's why I want Xbox to continue to try and push things. Obviously, you don't want to get too far into one way or the other. You don't want Xbox to have too much control of the market, because that's them owning Steam would just be crazy. like no, Activision Blizzard is sus enough. But just having like, oh yeah, we just own Steam. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, to me, I think the biggest thing I'd like to see happen in this generation, right? Like if you look at how much better the PS4 generation was than the PS3 generation, it's because Microsoft, through 80% of that generation, handed them their ass with the Xbox 360. PS3 caught up at the end of the gen, but Microsoft clearly had that momentum. So it forced Sony to make the PS4, for gamers and all that. So to me,
because that tech in PS3, like PS3 still had their great exclusives, but they were largely locked out of all those great third-party games because their hardware was so difficult to develop on.
Mm-hmm. So that's why, like, to me, like, if I'm a Sony fan, I really would love to see Microsoft from here to the end of this generation all of a sudden start putting out bangers, right? Because if those sales numbers start to come up, that's going to make Sony very, very nervous for the next gen, right? So you're more likely to see a monster PS6 with a killer lineup of games immediately.
I think that's why I think Xbox might be a big reason why they made that giant investment in live service games, because of the Activision Blizzard deal that Xbox are making, because they were because Activision Blizzard, love them or not, I mean, a lot of people who work there don't, but they're real big in the live service market, and Sony wanted to hedge against the possibility of them no longer having access to any of Activision Blizzard stuff. So there's like, instead of just being, they realize that's like a blind spot for them. So it's like, instead of just leaving ourselves vulnerable to, what if we can't have, any of Activision's Blizzard stuff, what if Call of Duty somehow, ends up as an exclusive only on PC and Xbox? How about we just have our own stuff, so we don't. I mean,
that Bungie acquisition was like, I was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Like, as soon as I saw the some of that stuff, I was like, yep, that's tit for tat. Yep, makes sense. Like,
yeah, you're getting Activision Blizzard. All right, we'll take Bungie.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Like, I just updated Twitter. First tweet I see is Allfather out there. He just tweeted a picture of Sunset Overdrive, responding to somebody, but it's just random.
That is quite weird, actually.
I mean, because that game of if anything, you know what I mean. But
maybe he has some inside information about Suicide Squad Kid of Justice League.
No, I think he's just at war with the weirdos that don't want multiplayer games.
Oh, and
also he probably can see into my mind, because the British have a hive mind. So
yeah,
he's
I believe that.
Looking through my eye sockets.
Actually, that makes sense, because he just made a video about how he wants. I saw the thumbnail. He wants multiplayer Insomniac Spider-Man game. So I'm sure there are plenty of fanboys that are like, oh, but multiplayer would ruin it, and Insomniac doesn't do multiplayer. And then he probably was like, Sunset Overdrive.
Somebody in chat, Steven, mentioned this is why I'm looking forward to X Defiant, because it's a true competitor to Call of Duty. Let me just tell you something. Call of Duty had a very good yesterday. All right. Because you can look behind me and you can see all my games. I'm pretty sure starting right here all the way to right there is Call of Duty 2 through 20. All right. Like there was a point in time where I loved Call of Duty like everybody else. I bought them all, I played them all, I enjoyed them, and then I became more of a Battlefield player. And I haven't really gone back very much since Warzone came out. I think I've played like 5 matches of Warzone ever.
He went back for Nicki Minaj.
No, I'm going back because they are getting Skeletor. And their battle pass this season is Spawn, and it looks awesome.
So they're basically Fortnite now.
They are basically going Fortnite because they're also getting stuff for Doom and Diablo.
I saw this coming when they did that absolute dog shit Attack on Titan crossover.
Well, they also had the crossover where you could get Stargirl. No, Bright. What's the girl? Starlight and Homelander.
Yeah.
You get Starlight and Homelander. I actually logged in and bought Homelander, who literally looks like Homelander. Like she's run around as Homelander.
Voice actor as well. It's kind of crazy. Like Black Noir as well, but obviously you don't have to do a voice for him.
Does that mean Call of Duty now has a third person option?
No, but like you still get to run around as it.
You see him when you do the takedowns, which is pretty cool. Like they're character specific takedowns. What I like as well about that, the thing that kind of is drawing me into kind of buying those characters when they come out, like Spawn or doing the battle pass, is because you can play them in Modern Warfare 3 in their zombies mode. And the thought of going around as Homelander, like doing takedowns on zombies, sounds kind of like I feel like I have to be high to come up with something like that, but I don't have to be to just play Modern Warfare 3. It's crazy.
There's actually a book series that basically has that premise. Like what if the boys were, but it was a zombie apocalypse.
What?
It's
lying.
No, it's actually one of my favorite book series. It's by this really talented author. I think his name is Peter Klein's. It's called the X series. The first one in the series is called X Heroes, I believe. Right, yeah, okay. It's you get the whole thing. You get the whole thing on Amazon. It's actually really good. But yeah, that's literally the premise. Like of it is like the world has been just crushed by the zombie apocalypse, and like the last survivors are being protected by like the last superheroes.
I've
just seen it.
It's actually really good.
Yeah, it's just crazy though, like because for so long people criticize Fortnite. Oh, you're just getting every crossover, and now these crossovers are going to all the games, and people love it because it's cool.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we all have our favorite characters, and why wouldn't we want to play as those characters in our other favorite games? When I was at Crystal Dynamics,
how dare you?
Yeah, when I was at NetherRealm, we had lunch with this guy Rigo Cortez, who's worked on at NetherRealm for over 20 years, and we were talking about all the licensing and stuff, and he shared some really cool stories, and we started talking about who we would like to see in the game, and I brought up Skeletor, and I was like, well, it'd make more sense if you did an Injustice 3, because there is the Masters of the Universe versus Injustice comic books.
True.
But I would love to see Skeletor in either Mortal Kombat or Injustice
or Batman Ninja.
Yeah, I that is a very big inside joke that listen, I can live the rest of my life knowing that I gave an elevator pitch in an actual elevator to the head of a studio about a video game I would like. That is like, that's some goals right there. And I didn't 100% go all in on the pitch to Ed Boon, but I did mention it to him.
Oh, good, because you initially mentioned it to Patrick, right?
Yes, Patrick at W Montreal.
Yeah.
So we were in a literal elevator.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he left the studio. So,
did he?
He's actually at another completely different studio now. I think.
Wow.
I think might be actually. I think he's actually at Ubisoft now. But
Crosstown.
Yeah, but at least Ed Boon knows. So it lives on.
Well, it's funny, and the reason we were doing it came up is because like I've been joking about it already with everybody, but Caboose and Uncaged Games were pushing him hard for a Superman game. And I'm like, well, here's the thing. How about Batman Ninja? Well, I think the way my pitch goes completely is, think about it. Batman Ninja, art style like the anime in feudal Japan, open world RPG.
Or
Hold on, let me back it up.
Yeah, but careful, you don't want to pull a Lejeune and fall on the floor.
Yeah,
That was so good.
He laid there for so long. Like,
That's one of those did that shit just happen moment, right?
I actually did see. So here's the thing: once you start having these like really good relationships with studios,
yeah,
you try to like stay away from some of the leak stuff.
Yeah,
but
gotta stay on their good side.
Data mining is a little bit different to me. I feel like
not the Nick Edwards.
Yeah, well, like, but that's the thing. Like, there's a difference between leaking something that you were told and going through the game's actual files and finding stuff.
Right.
And people have been going through the Mortal Kombat 1 files just the same way that Miller with 8Ms goes through all of the Avengers files and stuff. So there's a data miner that goes by the Thiny, and this person was a big data miner on Mortal Kombat 11.
They use 8Ts?
No. But they were legit. And supposedly, they've found a lot of files containing conversations or references to Noob Saibot, Cyrax, Ghostface, which is the big one.
Ghostface Killer?
No, from Scream, which is the one that everybody wants in like literally every video game. Jade, Cassie Cage, Kung Jin, also Unknown Girl. Nobody knows who that is. And then Kotal / He-Man / Conan. So it could be Kotal Khan, which is my favorite Mortal Kombat character. I doubt it. He-Man, which I wouldn't hate, but I'd rather Skeletor. But if they gave me He-Man, awesome. Or Conan, which totally makes sense. They've already done Arnold before, you know?
True.
So that, who knows? There's definitely going to be a Combat Pack 2. I think like you're crazy if you don't think they're going to do that. That would certainly be an interesting list for me, but we'll see.
No Goku?
No Goku. But I do feel like this is legit because people were finding like actual like conversations, like, so they found some like Omni-Man stuff. Like, here's a conversation when Omni-Man fights Omni-Man. Omni-Man, you should have discarded Debbie years ago. Omni-Man, think I've gone soft? Shut the fuck up and hit me. Omni-Man, think about it. You can save your empire. Melina, I'll cut my own throat before I bend a knee. You know, like, so there's like, these are the type of intro things that they have. So like, apparently there's already Omni-Man dialogue in there. I don't even understand what this would mean. What is an alternate me doing here? Does the name Angston Levi mean something to you?
Marvel's Avengers confirmed.
No, I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, that would certainly, all of that would be interesting. But we'll see what happens, you know.
I still haven't gotten MK1. Probably not going to be a thing I'm interested in until Omni-Man drops.
Yeah. I did see those leaks. There is a cute little Invincible reference in there as well, where like I can't sort of quote it exactly, but I think it's like, you're this, but my son is invincible, and it's a bit like, oh, okay, it's a bit cringe, Omni-Man, calm down. Go conquer a planet or something. What are you doing? No, but I'm not really into fighting games myself. I'm too bad at them to warrant me buying them. I mean, it literally is like the thought of spending like 70 British pounds on a video game that I know I'm just going to rage quit after 2 hours doesn't seem very healthy.
True. Yeah, I don't do fighting games either. I tried the Mortal Kombat beta. The combat was a little difficult to get used to. It was a little slow from what I'm used to playing like the anime style games like Ninja Storm and Demon Slayer. But I took to Street Fighter 6 pretty well. I absolutely love the combat in Street Fighter 6. I'm really enjoying that game, even though I'm not typically a fighting game. I'm actually really having fun with it.
You should disclose that you're a Capcom creator.
Regardless of the fact that I'm a Capcom creator.
Yes.
Like,
I need to get you programmed to disclose.
I disclosed that before. I had the couple weeks ago when you yelled at me for Starfield. I pulled out the.
you were objectively being a dick.
I was objectively spitting facts. I had the Capcom creator sunglasses out for that, for the nerd glasses for that. That was a good. That was my disclosure that I'm in the Capcom. I'm speaking to you right now on a Capcom mat that they sent me. I have my laptop sitting right on top of it.
Oh yeah.
So unrelated to that, I'm really having fun with Street Fighter 6. Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying out the new Resident Evil DLC Separate Ways featuring Ada Wong.
I think that's pretty good, actually. Some of the reviews come out. I mean, it was always going to be good anyway, but like, it's nice because a lot of people were giving shit to Ada Wong's VA in the remake because apparently she doesn't sound exactly the same as the old one, so that's a problem immediately. So like, the fact that her own DLC's like gotten a lot of props is pretty cool.
I need to take my union mandated pee break, so I will return.
Well, you hear that? Bring in the union. Next week, Jay's going to be on strike for the next 5 months. We're not going to have Jay on the podcast until the strike is resolved. I hear actually it might be resolved soon.
Yeah, they're negotiating now, right? Like they're actually at the table.
Yeah. From my understanding, the strike could have ended like weeks ago. The studio's pretty much last offer I saw for them, they had pretty much conceded on everything. The only thing the studios refused to budge on was like the minimum writer room requirements. The union wanted to have it so basically that no matter what the project was, if you hired writers, you would have to have a minimum number. So if you say you wanted to have a project and you only needed 3 writers, you would have to hire 15. So that sort of thing. And that's the one thing the studios refused to budge on, and that was like holding stuff up. So we'll see if they're back on the negotiating table. We'll probably have something resolved soon because we saw more and more of those of people like breaking ranks a bit. Had Drew Barrymore was like,
right?
was like, you know what? About time we go back. About time we go back to work.
That's quite interesting. That's going to be. Oh, sorry, Johnny, you go first.
No, you go ahead, man. You go ahead.
Because like it's such a sticky thing because when this is over, a lot of people are going to look back at the celebrities that were like, yeah, all right, let's go back to work, guys. Come on, I'm bored out here. And those people are going to be like vilified by the public, but the studios are definitely going to like, okay, look, we got this part, all right, and we were going to give it to someone else, but we saw them outside with those fucking picket signs. So Drew Barrymore, how would you like to be the Flash?
I don't think the public is going to be really that. I mean, Twitter, but it was mainly like people that were already like on the cause. I feel like the majority really just don't care. And I mean, how big was Drew Barrymore's show anyway? And in that particular instance, it wasn't like the Stephen Amell got a lot of shit because he basically very inarticulately was like, "Oh, striking is bullshit," and but whereas Drew Barrymore was like, "Hey, my staff are not SAG, so they literally will gain nothing from no matter how this negotiation is, and I don't want them, losing their homes. So I'm going to start the show back because it's actually not under the SAG restrictions, so it's actually contractually allowed to exist regardless of the strike situation anyway. But despite that, they basically bullied her into going off the air, even though she was actually legally allowed. SAG even eventually admitted that, yeah, like her show is not part of the actual strike. She's fully allowed to have the show anyway, but they were like, nah, you're still scab. Get her out of here.
Well, and I think you're starting to see the pressure from like anybody that's like D celebrity or lower, right? They're starting to feel the money crunch.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
Like, so it's like I think you're going to start to see more breaking of ranks, and
That's why they're probably in a hurry to kind of get back to the table, especially since the studios seem to be willing to concede a lot of ground. So there's like, well, the lower tiers are like obviously really feeling it, and the ones that aren't making like 10 $20 million a movie are like, hey.
I mean, to me, it says everything that you got The Rock back doing shit with WWE right now. Even that man's like, man, I need a payday now, just to kind of pad my shit. So,
or maybe he's just bored because I mean, this man.
I bet it's that.
He's going to get this man's literally gets $20 million a movie. I know he lost his development deal, but I mean, he's still a Rock.
I mean, that's sort of why Cena's come back for that, like this brief period of time now, because like he can afford to do a couple of matches, and even if he gets like a few boo-boos here and there, like he probably assumed that this strike was going to last a lot longer. Yeah. Like this is what I mean. There was a meme where someone was said, John Cena, now that the strike is over, and it's just him leaving the building, like he would just say, "No, 8 weeks, I'm done now. I'm going back to do something with Peacemaker."
100%. Watch and see. If that strike's over next week, this 7 weeks of John Cena going to wrap up in 7 days.
100%. Like he's part of James Gunn's new DCU. He's got he's out of there. The second like once the writer strike deal closes, I feel like the actors aren't going to be far behind. So it's going to be probably all back to normal. In the next month, because I remember an executive said kind of like this is kind of like the last, like if everything isn't resolved within a month, it's like going to be like the whole next year is basically a wash. So I think there's more pressure to kind of get this thing done.
Yeah, didn't they say like Beetlejuice 2 was literally like a week away from being finished? Like it is like that close to being done, and got derailed. Like they were trying to race it out. And
James Gunn did some similar stuff with his DC stuff because he was like, all right, well, he made sure that he got in his script for Superman Legacy before the deadline for the writer strike, and he got his Superman and Lois Lane cast before the actor strike went into effect. Plus he got a few other characters. He got his Green Lantern, Nathan Fillion in there. He's got his Hawk Girl. So he made sure he was getting in there as much work as he could on those projects while waiting, which is smart. But I didn't see this one lasting like a year or something like last time, because the landscape is very different from where it used to be between streaming and AI. I feel like this. I didn't think this one was, and we're in recession. Cost of living in California is higher than ever. I didn't think this one was going to go that long. I mean, these if you're in a position where making like $3,600 a week, like on a low end, for if you're booked for like 7 days or more on a project, is like starvation. Like like things are bad in your state. Like they had to work out a deal one way or another.
Yeah, it's funny too. I saw today, I think Hulu announced there's gonna be like a new plan where you have to pay like an extra $2.99 to get ad free, and people are already complaining about that. And these are the same people like, well, why can't you pay the actors and everybody or the writers? And it's like, well, this is why there's no ad revenue. There's subscription fees. And like every time somebody raises the price, or every time somebody says you can't account share, you bitch about it. Like, and there's only like these streaming services were never going to work long term, because like there's only so much revenue there. It's a finite amount. Like there is a ceiling, and it's not glass. You can't burst through it.
They were basically following Netflix and thought that, oh, this is going to be the future, and then they realized, oh no, this is not.
Yeah, because like, and that's why we look at like the MCU stuff, the Star Wars stuff that we've seen on Disney Plus, and that's why they are lacking, and that's why we always talk about it. Like, there are just a lot of conversation shifting from room to room, with like a little bit of action here and there. If you're lucky.
I don't know, Jay. I was looking around Twitter, and it seems like Dave Filoni saved Star Wars.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Ahsoka is objectively better than a lot of stuff that we've seen recently, like Secret Invasion and stuff like that. You know,
the bar is hell.
Right. I get it. I've enjoyed Ahsoka, but I will admit that like it is a little bit less than what I expected. You know, it's I don't know. I feel like the Dave Filoni glaze is kind of out of hand. Like literally,
they're wanting to give him the book. Like they're full on. Like just take everything Star Wars, Dave Filoni. After that,
I trust him with it though, way more than Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh, for sure. Like if he could do it without that over, because I'm really enjoying Rebels. Like Rebels is actually really good, which is why it's so hard to go back from Rebels to Ahsoka.
Because I feel like this is like one of the very few moments where I recommended something to Sadat and he liked it.
Yeah, Jay is not very actually, to be fair, I don't think you've made that many recommendations.
Yeah. Because I know that like you're gonna be really fucking picky.
He's also terrified for another half an hour of Aftershow Podcast where he goes through the reviews of something Jay suggests.
Yeah, he's lucky I didn't pull up any Ahsoka reviews.
Yeah. No. But like I agree with you for the most part. So like
yeah. I feel like people lost their minds over that Anakin episode, like I knew they would, because literally all you have to do with these Star Wars fans now is like just literally dangle some member berries in their faces, and they'll lose their minds for a couple of months. Like Darth Vader, he did Darth Vader, and they just go crazy. It's like, okay, guys, relax.
What do you guys think about Rosario Dawson's like acting in the show? Because I've seen a lot of criticism, and from what I've seen, there's not really acting. It's more like a slideshow of faces. A PowerPoint.
You mean a slideshow of the same face? Like there's no acting in
but like in different angles.
Yeah, there's very minimal acting in the actual show.
But that's who Ahsoka is at that point in her life. Like I feel like she is doing, like if you watch the later Rebel stuff where she's more of an adult, she's very reserved and very introspective, and like is not like so I don't really feel like it's Rosario Dawson's fault. I think she's doing
it's the direction
what she was asked. Yeah,
because every other character is also doing that exact same thing.
Yeah.
Pretty much delivering every line, very methodically and slowly with minimal facial expressions,
and especially Thrawne, because that's exactly who Thrawne's supposed to be. Like right. Thrawne is like a tactician. You
mean Elon Musk?
It does. Who is? I didn't actually see who that was. He looks very familiar, but I do see the Elon Musk now.
When I saw, because I'm at the point in Rebels where Thrawn is a thing, and I'm like, I felt like they did a decent job capturing the voice and everything. But when I first saw him, I was like, oh, look at the dad bod, and then I saw the face, I was like, holy shit, is that Elon Musk?
Well, the thing that's almost kind of funny is
Lars
if you
Mikkelsen.
go back, if you go back to that original like Timothy Zahn novel from years ago, like Heir to the Empire. Ahsoka is literally 80% of that book, and instead of Luke Skywalker, it's Ahsoka, right? It's like, you had this, of course, he was like a weird Jedi clone, but like old, former Jedi that's turned dark, kind of in the middle, don't know what's going on. You had, that was where Thrawn got invented, right? I mean, it's just kind of funny how all that shit was cast out of canon, but now they're cherry picking. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, that was kind of cool. Yeah, let's bring Thrawn back. And, oh, that's kind of cool. Yeah, Old Republic, let's bring that back.
But that's a thing that I really feel like we are going to see that, and we're going to see that. And I think that's why the Knights of the Old Republic reboot was going to be a thing, because that was a big part of what they were going to do with the future. And we even saw it today when Hasbro did their like Hasbro PulseCon. They're releasing another Darth Revan figure with HK-47, and you can't tell me that with all the Revan stuff they've been releasing, which is a lot, trust me, I know, my wallet knows. They've also been releasing Malak and Bastila Shan like merch like through Hasbro. Like you can't tell me that there wasn't a game plan to do something with that story more than just the remake of Knights of the Old Republic. I
Oh,
guarantee
100%.
there's going to be a movie series, and I was
It's
afraid
still
it was
real
going to.
It's still real to me, damn it.
Yeah.
Well, Nihilus was in the statue was in the Sith Temple on Exegol in Rise of Skywalker, right?
Yep,
So like
yeah.
that was kind of
And
like
one of the ships was named after Revan.
We're about to get a Dark Revan trilogy from Rian Johnson. Watch.
That's actually what I was afraid of. There was actually a rumor that he was going to be doing KOTOR, and I was like, fuck me, because he hates Jedi. Like, he hates Star Wars. Like, go let him make some Jabba the Hutt like bounty hunter series. He'll fucking kill it, okay? But like, just leave the Force out of it with him.
right. I agree with that.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's definitely. I think they're obviously very aware of the fact that Star Wars fans like very particular characters and very particular parts of the canon that they hastily have cast aside, and now they're realizing, oh yeah, we got to pack in that nostalgia. So let's dig through and see what we got.
And I feel like with Jon Favreau and Filoni, especially them working together, like they understand the Star Wars recipe that works, right? Like that to me, that was one of the big things was like when you did the sequel trilogy, if you had a question about the universe, you went to this little focus group to talk to them about what it should be. If Jon Favreau or Dave have a question, they pick up the phone and call fucking George Lucas.
True.
You know, the guy who thought it up, like, George, what do you think? You know, so it's like,
yeah. Then you have writers now who are talking about, oh well, calling George Lucas, oh that's a little patriarchy, you know. So it's just like,
right?
like, oh, that was a wild quote. I was like, what? And
like
and
the man thought all this shit up. Like that's the guy you talk to, you know. Like holy shit.
I think that was a writer on the Acolytes. I think
that kind of reminds me of the MCU quote I saw from like one of the directors. Where we were like, yeah, we're not actually allowed to look at the source material while we're writing for like Civil War or something, for an example, right? And like I think there was one. It might have been the X-Men Fox films where they were like, yeah, Kevin Feige back in the day snuck us in some comics because we didn't know what we were writing. Like, oh, holy shit! What do you mean?
Yeah, like we had that with WandaVision. Like people had all these theories about Mephisto, and we found out the writers didn't even, not only did they not read House of M, they didn't know who Mephisto was.
Right. and then Sam Raimi didn't watch WandaVision, even though it's like a continuation of WandaVision, kind of.
The writer of Loki didn't watch Loki, or at least remember any of the multiverse stuff they established in Loki.
Well, to me, man, like I always, when we get in these discussions on my stream, if you want to know how Hollywood prior to the financial success of the MCU viewed comic book movies, watch The Death of Superman Lives. Right? When you see Warner Brothers just pissing in the wind, throwing millions of dollars at a Superman movie with Nicolas Cage that never happens.
Holy.
And you have one of the most knowledgeable comic writers in the world in Kevin Smith that writes you the Superman fanboy movie that everybody wants. And then they systematically pull anything out of it. Like, oh, well, I don't want Superman to fly. And, you know, it's so stupid.
Superman fly?
You know,
what is this kid shit? Get this out of here. Give him an AK-47.
You what, mate?
It's horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I was very well aware of Hollywood's disdain for nerddom when I saw the famous Dragon Ball Evolution, which took the beloved Dragon Ball Z franchise and took a steaming pile of shit just all in our faces and just rubbed it in and then pissed on top of us. like this is like they took a story. They were like, okay, the source material is because it was kind of like an adaptation of a very generous, loose adaptation of Dragon Ball, the original series, which the premise of which is basically Goku is a child who crash landed on Earth as an alien, and he was raised by a martial artist named Gohan. And after he died, he kind of went on his own, and he stumbled upon this human girl named Bulma, who kind of taught him, the ways of the world, and he pursued, martial arts and eventually became a protector of Earth. He trained with Master Roshi. He met his best friend Krillin. They entered world martial arts tournaments and got stronger and stronger. And then as a teenager, he came face to face with the Demon King Piccolo, who was trying to destroy the world. And they took that and was like, okay, got it. Goku is a modern high school student who's trying to get laid with and he knows karate, and there's a demon that's trying to take over the world. I was like, bro, what?
That's exactly like the 80s He-Man movie, right? With Dolph Lundgren. It's like, other than having a dude named fucking He-Man in it, like there is nothing that's got anything to do with shit in that movie.
It's like fucking
I remember 8-year-old me. 8-year-old me is in the theater. What is this bullshit?
That sounds like the movie
horrible.
equivalent of the joke that every like superhero show or movie writer makes, where they pull out the original comic costume and go, "Nah, this looks stupid." Throw it away.
That's what's funny, because I can see them doing that. Nah, this looks stupid. Like seeing Goku charge up this super Kamehameha and blow up a fucking mountain. And like, no, it's way cooler to have him shoot out this tiny beam and blow out a candle. Like, what the fuck, bro? What are we doing here?
or 2000 X-Men putting them all in like leftover garage sale Matrix outfits, right? Like nothing says X-Men like pleather, man. Like, let's do it.
If I get M. Night Shyamalan thinking earthbending is 10 guys doing a 30-minute martial arts demonstration just to lift one boulder. Not even boulder is generous, like one moderately sized rock and move it slowly 10 feet. I was like, what the fuck? Like, how does this happen? like it always baffles my mind when stuff like this goes on, because what happens when you give a shit about the source material. Like, we're not living in an alternate universe. Like, people, they've seen faithful adaptations do incredibly well. Like The Boys, one of Amazon's biggest shows, fairly faithful adaptation. The Mario movie made over $1 billion. One Piece live action, one of the biggest things on Netflix. And the formula is pretty simple. You take an established IP with a built-in audience, you adapt it faithfully so that the audience likes it, you release it, and you count the money. Instead of like, nah, let's just shit all over it and call the fans racist if they don't like it. It's like, what are we doing? It's like, what are we doing here, bro?
Yeah.
Well, Marvel Comics, it's almost gotten to be the same thing anymore. Like I miss the days of comics. I mean, here's old man yelling at clouds again. But like, to where when you changed a writer or whatever, you didn't have to erase the entire fucking continuity and start back over at one, right? Like, you kept the basis of the story intact and you ran with it. And like, I just saw this thing now that I thought it was a joke when I saw it on Twitter, that they are bringing back the Ultimates universe again. And it's like, do you not remember what a disaster that was? And you had to abort and delete universes and do all this kind of shit just to get it back because it flopped so hard the first time. And
I kind of like the story of it, though. Like, I get your point. I agree. But like, I'm a bit of a nerd for stuff like that. Like, I'm a bit like, that's cool. Like, because I forget about the incest and the cannibalism and the...
I don't know though.
I mean, I'm pretty sure we're all desensitized to incest after Game of Thrones at the very least.
Yeah, right. I mean, to me, like, after what Jonathan Hickman just did to the last X-Men, right? Like, it I know I'm getting real deep in the weeds, but like, if you didn't read this last run of X-Men, he basically turned Charles into the bad guy, right? And the X-Men became plants.
Spoiler alert.
It literally, like, Wolverine would go out on a mission and get killed. And then they would go into the nursery where they had little clones of Wolverine.
I heard about this.
They'd pick him off the tree. But we downloaded his memories before he went out on the mission. So let's just give him his memories again and send it. It was so stupid, right? And like,
that's really weird. That's
And this
that's
is the
some like
dude that's-
next level human trafficking.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, I do remember reading about the plant thing and thinking, oh, that's fucking dumb. Anyway, let me
Yeah.
I'm continue reading Chainsaw Man.
And
The only
this
thing
is the guy that is the architect behind Ultimates. So that's why I tell people, like, don't get your hopes up. Like it's gonna get weird and get dumb.
The only thing that
But-
I've seen about this X-Men run is that they keep going to like fancy Met Gala balls.
Mhm.
Because like every
lot of balls.
yeah, like every cover
I love
apparently
balls.
has them like going to some freaking like fancy formal wear required event to the point where like they've now crossed over to like
It's Coachella X-Men, right?
yeah, like non X-Men characters. Like I saw Nova all dressed up to go to one of these things. And also, did you know that Nightcrawler is Spider-Man now?
I
really?
did. I saw that. Yeah, the uncanny Spider-Man. I still don't get why he has to be Spider-Man
Because
like, he has
everybody
his
is
own
Spider-Man. Everybody is Spider-Man. So all they could do is give somebody a Spider-Man suit and say, "You're Spider-Man."
So like the thing is, right, with Miles is that he wasn't like someone and then Spider-Man. At least he was just Spider-Man, right? Nightcrawler
Yeah.
is like Nightcrawler. Like you don't have to do this,
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yes, he's literally Nightcrawler. Like he's
Right.
Like
he's
that's
he's
his,
a-
that's
he's
his
a great
thing. You don't need
character.
to.
Yeah,
like,
that was one of the dumbest ones for sure. And I just anyway.
Yeah, what if almost as bad as the what if of Miles Morales' store.
by Odin's
By
fade.
Odin's fade.
By Odin's fade on my Timberland boots.
Yeah. Yeah, that one is just I don't know. But that's also the thing though. Like that's the danger in constantly giving hand-me-down characters and passing uniforms and costumes to different people. Freaking Doomkiller is going to be in shambles when somebody else's century very soon.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's just a sign of just a complete lack of creativity. They're just not they're not putting their best on these projects, and the talent isn't there, and they're just like, how can we keep milking this IP over? Let's reboot. Let's make them plants. Let's race swap. Let's gender swap. Let's put Nightcrawler in a Spider-Man suit. Like let's do anything to milk this without actually telling original stories.
Okay, so
Like,
apparently sorry, Johnny. The reason that they made Nightcrawler Spider-Man in like continuity, not like fancy Ryan words. So in Uncanny Spider-Man, Nightcrawler has found a new mission, saving people one at a time. He did that anyway. To do so, he borrowed an extra suit from Spider-Man to hide his disguise, his mutant identity, and launch his new career as a spider-themed hero. He's an X-Man.
He's literally
Right?
an X-Men.
I was gonna say-
they all know who Nightcrawler is.
Right. To me, you can literally picture it in your mind that you got old white guys sitting around a table, right, smoking the cigar, and it like almost like 50 Stan and Kirby, and it's like, well, Nightcrawler's not selling so much right now, but you know what is? Spider-Man's. So let's make Nightcrawler Spider-Man's. Go. And like,
Does he tuck his tail?
I think he leaves that out. Which again defeats the thing.
So
this teleporting guy with the same shape.
Wait a minute. Why does Spider-Man have a blue tail and the ability to teleport? That seems familiar. Anyway, I have no idea who that could be.
And it's not like his gloves have like extra fingers to hide that he's got the hands that he does or the feet that he has.
Doesn't have five
blue
fingers.
tail and teleports, but he's got 8 fingers, so that's not Nightcrawler. Like, it's not.
Like, what the fuck, bro?
Right. Oh god.
The costume's pretty cool though. Like, I'll give that.
Oh, that's terrible. What a terrible idea. What an absolute terrible idea. Does he still use the swords, or did he get his own web shooters?
Oh, he doesn't use the swords. I don't know if he uses web shooters though. I think that might be copyrighted. I think they might have left that with Peter and Miles.
I mean, basically, he doesn't do anything like a spider, but he's Spider-Man, right?
So basically, just cosplaying.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
It's just strange. I think I saw a panel earlier. Sorry for anyone who's like gonna read it or is reading it.
Let's be honest. We've seen the sales. No one's going to be reading it.
I mean, I'll be honest. I've given this a lot of shit. I'm probably going to try and find it somewhere on like freecomicbook.com. But like,
that's where we go.
I saw Peter like having dialogue with him, like, how long are you going to keep this up, Kurt? And he's basically just like, don't know, which is basically the writer's answer of as soon as you stop buying it.
Yeah, right.
Which is immediately. I mean,
I have a confession. I just saw Lejeune fall out of his chair.
you finally saw it.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I mean,
Wow.
actually, I mean, we might as well just put it on the screen.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
stays there for quite a while. We're going to be here a long time.
Yeah, that was oof.
Let me find it. I think it's in the round table chat.
I just responded to it with the old lady. I've fallen. I can't get up.
I found it here. This was absolutely fucking hysterical. I've been in the stream many a times for a classic Lejeune Call of Duty rage moment.
Yeah,
and that's just absolutely perfect. Let me share
La Fall.
Lael. He took a Lael. Let me blow this up. He was okay. Obviously, this is why it's so funny.
Yeah.
Live reaction.
Like, I just don't
That's so good.
That is objectively the greatest moment of my night.
That's so good. Oh my god, this is definitely an all-time Lejeune clip.
Yeah.
That's it. I need to be press kit right there.
He just knew that was a clip. He just stayed there. he just had to stay there.
How do you like clip on YouTube?
Oh my god, it's in the worst way possible. The clip feature on YouTube is absolute dog shit. Still,
All right, I'll go through and grab it after because
yeah, Twitch is better. Like with YouTube, like you have the clip option and it like creates a separate link to the section of the video, and then you can copy the link and share it as a video link, and you know, on Twitch where they actually do it like, you know, intelligently, you can just you just pick the clip, it pops over to a new screen, and you have a bunch of options. You can download it, which is what usually people want to do with clips. Download it so they can re-upload it or embed it somewhere. YouTube is like, no, you can watch. You can just watch on the URL. Like, it's like the fuck. Like they still haven't added, as far as I know, a download clip function. But so good thing he does it on Twitch. Holy shit, that was good.
All right, what else we got here?
We actually, funny enough, we had Slight Stardust on the panel, and we didn't talk about Spider-Man 2 once.
we were getting into like roasting people for losing their jobs, and then we got into like acting and Rosario Dawson, and then we got into like you know what? It's been a blur, guys. It's gone really fast.
Yeah, Lejeune falling like is the last thing I remember.
That's because it's the last thing that happened.
No, but like quite literally, I think that's taken up like about 2 hours of the time of him being laid down there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was most of the stream, just Lejeune falling.
What makes me laugh about the clip is it reminds me of like when you fall over in front of a bunch of people and you try and laugh it off so that everyone around you thinks that you're in on the joke, but he realizes no one can see him, so he like goes, "Oh god."
Because it's worse because he knows he's live. He's like, oh shit, I can't play this off. Oh, the camera position is too perfect. Everyone can see my just legs dangling up in the air. Oh no. But I think we're all in agreement. Spider-Man 2 Game of the Year.
I mean, it'll be my game of the year, but I feel like the guys in the suits that do like the deciding on the game awards will never let a famous IP win.
Oh no, definitely, it's definitely going to Baldur's Gate or Tears of the Kingdom, 100%.
And it would be one of them annoying events where like Baldur's Gate and Tears of the Kingdom win like every other award, and then we're expected to believe that the other like two that are up for Game of the Year nominations have a chance against those two.
Yeah.
I don't know though. I still think we got enough time in the year for a game to come out that will have 0 gameplay features, but it'll be a tale of self-discovery and feelings and whatever by some indie studio, and that would be what wins Game of the Year.
Because Stray was like the perfect version of that, and it still lost to Elden Ring and God of War. No, the games journalists, there's nothing they love glazing more than an in-depth story-driven RPG. Like they absolutely love it. Tears of the Kingdom and Baldur's Gate in the same year was manna from heaven for them. They could not stop gobbling once those games came out.
I wonder though, like, if there will be like some recency bias, because Tears from the Kingdom came out pretty early in the year.
Yeah.
And I feel like the one before it lasted longer, and like people were still talking about it at this point. But I don't hear anybody talking about it now.
Not at all. I mean, may and a large part of that because it could be a combination of the social media era, but Baldur's Gate 3 is really just like sucked all the air out of the room when it comes to RPGs. Like that's all anyone's talking about anymore after it came out. So I feel like that's the favorite to win Game of the Year.
I just feel like if the Game Awards ever sort of gave like a Spider-Man a Game of the Year thing, in their minds, I feel like they would think that just makes gaming look bad because it's like this outside IP put into a video game beat all the other original gaming IPs. Fuck you guys. I mean, stop trying. Exactly. But like, if the game is like goated, then give it its credit. Put it up there. Like,
it won't. Like they wouldn't even give They wouldn't even give the Arkham City.
Oh, there are only 1,100 people watching it right now on Twitch. Dead game?
What
is this Zelda?
No, Legend Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom.
It's Dead Game.
Dead Game on Twitch apparently.
I mean, I've been told that that means you're a dead game. I wonder how many people are watching Marvel's Avengers.
I think they wanted
20?
the build system to last a lot longer on social media and stuff, like people making these stupid, crazy builds and them going viral to like continue the momentum push.
Yeah,
75 viewers. Okay,
pretty good for Avengers, to be fair.
Yeah, pretty peak. That's how you know. That's how you know the Twitch numbers aren't like anything to really judge a game by, because Marvel's Avengers has like way more than that playing on Steam.
Yeah,
that's just a reflection of the amount of content creators that happen to be covering the game at this particular hour on Twitch. So
I will say this: Marvel's Avengers 306,000 followers. Tears from the Kingdom 272.
There you go. It's that Marvel IP. Imagine if the game actually delivered. That probably would have been 5 million followers, and there'd be probably 100,000 playing, watching right now. Myself, and I'd be one of the people playing it.
12,000 people watching Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, that's Game of the Year, clearly.
What else came out around the time of Tears of the Kingdom?
Jedi Survivor.
Cool, I forgot about that. I've completely forgot.
Basically, you have Tears of the Kingdom, Hogwarts Legacy, Jedi Survivor, Diablo 4, Starfield, Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3.
Wow, 142 people watching Jedi Survivor.
I think Resident Evil 4 remake will probably be up.
Resident Evil 4 remake, well. Resident Evil 4 remake, maybe, or Final Fantasy 16, one of those. Really, like I think there's like 6 nominees allowed for Game of the Year.
I mean, Spider-Man 2 would definitely be up there. Like they'll give it that much.
So Baldur's Gate 3 and Tears of the Kingdom are a lock. So and Spider-Man 3, so they have. I mean, they're going to have to.
Resident Evil 4 has 31,000 people watching right now.
Huh?
I
There's
mean,
definitely like distortions.
Did
going on or
Did Ada
something.
come out like today or something?
came out yesterday.
All right,
Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
sense then.
Also, Fextra Life probably is like 30,000 of those anyway.
Top streamer right now is Royer, 12,000.
Don't know Royer, but usually a lot of categories are skewed by Fextra Life because they always have whenever they cover a game, they're like the top of category because they do this trick where they have a very popular
embedding,
website.
right?
Yeah, they have a very popular website that has a bunch of guides for all sorts of games when they come out, and they embed their Twitch on every page on the website, so that they're getting views even just from people just literally scrolling through the website, not looking for the channel. So whenever they go live on Twitch, they always have like 20,000 concurrents because it's mainly from the embeds on the website, which pushes to the top of the category.
Yeah, our boy Gathalion has kind of been leading the crusade against that.
Yeah,
he just had dinner with the CEO of Twitch last week.
They
had a long conversation about it.
Yeah, Asmongold went in on it as well. Yeah, because that top spot in the Twitch category is super important because Twitch discoverability in general is pretty dog shit, particularly compared to YouTube's. So getting one of those coveted top corner slots in the Twitch category is very important if you're trying to get viewers to come to your stream. And the fact that they could just cheat the system with embedding is just like,
well, I mean, like that's kind of like I know I'm getting way off topic, but that's kind of like what my streaming strategy has been this year, like going variety.
Embedding
is that yeah, I wish.
Viewbody, like our legend friend.
Yeah, our legendary. No, but like if somebody, with me that's got like 30 to 50 concurrents, right? If I go stream Starfield, I'm so far buried because of the oversaturation of the category.
Yep.
I do my regular numbers are worse. But like when I was streaming American Truck Simulator, to where if I had 50 viewers in that game, I was dwarfing the rest of the category. And like in that 3-week period where I streamed that nonstop, I got 300 new followers. And I probably hadn't had 300 followers all year up until that point. So like there's something to be said about picking a smaller category, right? And kind of moving up. Because that, where you could take your fan base in there and actually get some discoverability, right? So
picking these stages are too saturated. It's kind of like an essential part if you're trying to be a streamer, get into gaming in particular. Yeah, that's how I settled on Marvel's Avengers. I was like, well, I want to get into a game that's not too saturated, but not like completely dead at the same time. And so I was like, oh, well, Avengers is a good middle ground. It's like it's a big IP, but has kind of fallen off significantly since launch. So it's got a pretty loyal following, but not massive. So can fit right in there.
Absolutely.
And that the rest was history. But once I saw the ship was indeed sinking, bailed out.
Yeah, right.
It's kind of cool though to be able to have this and obviously Doom shows and everything, because like that era was like, for as average a game as Avengers was, that era was awesome. Like I had some of the most fun I've ever had on as a creator with Marvel's Avengers.
100%. Flaws and all the nonsense from the community. It was still great.
100%.
Yeah,
and there were so many videos to make of like drama baiting and hate clicking. Oh, it's brilliant. Those XP boosters lasted a long time for me, boys. I made a lot.
I mean, to me, Avengers right up to the raid. Like, I loved everything about that game.
Yeah,
right.
My beef with Stardust. It was all fun. Like I had so much fun in this whole era. I thought Jay Shocklast was black during this time.
and now I'm just an honorary black boy.
Yeah.
That's another inside joke.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Remember a Do-Rag Nation? I remember that.
Sure.
Man had it.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to though.
I think I can speak for Jay when I say he's definitely going to be focusing on Mortal Kombat and praying to every god that he can find that there's a new Lego game.
I don't. Mortal Kombat stuff's doing really well, Jay. Like I had to look at your channel, like stuff's kind of like that. Level up guide that you did, like 25,000 plus.
That's gonna die. I mean, it's almost at 30, but it's gonna die because it just got age gated. So like it plateaued.
Damn YouTube.
No, I think what happened is like someone went in there and like complained, like, why didn't you just give credit to who you stole the idea from? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't watch anybody else's Mortal Kombat videos. I found this on my own. Like, oh yeah, sure you did. You just happened to find it, and do the exact same thing. I'm like, well,
I don't think he realized you've had the game for like a month.
Yeah, I'm like, first of all, I was one of the first people in the world to play Evasion at NetherRealm Studios, so suck on these nuts. But second of all, the game's only been out for a week, like officially. The embargo was only up a week ago. So, like, I don't really think I had the time to see that. Plus, I started making this video 3 days ago and just got sidetracked and distracted. And, like, whatever. Like, it's just weird.
Because you made like the first one and everyone kept moaning about your microphone audio.
Oh, yeah.
I was looking at the comments. That was ridiculous.
No, I figured out what happened, though. But, like, I put it in the description, but nobody reads the description.
You did, yeah.
I should know that. But like it was a fair criticism. There's something with the Wave XLR that you have to like save it to not reset. And what was happening is I would open OBS and it would be fine, but then I would do like a software update on like on Discord, and because I also use the mic in Discord, it would reset back to the standard, and my game audio is too high. So like it's just little quirks that you learn. I asked about it in the Elgato Discord, and it's fixed now. It'll always be what I set it at.
Nice. I know Johnny Rawker was on his Payday 3 grind.
Yeah, having a
Is
good
that game
time,
fun,
man.
Johnny? Oh,
yeah, that's where when it works, it's fantastic. Like
Sounds
really
like Avengers.
Yep. The shooting is really kind of what has surprised me. Like the shooting mechanics in that game are on par with like a Call of Duty, a Battlefield, and a Destiny. Like it's really, 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 really fun.
Yeah. I was playing around with the shooting. Obviously, the matchmaking was completely dead when I tried to play it. But when I was doing the tutorial level, I was trying to get into the shooting, and I don't know. It felt like it was missing like some stuff. It was kind of hard to get used to. Like it was like I would aim down sights and it would be just it would seem like a lot. I didn't like the view. It was like seemed harder to aim while aiming down sights compared to other shooters. And I was for some reason I had World War Z in my mind because that's one of the shooters that I'm used to. So I would come around the corner and was like, okay, I want to see if there's an enemy there. So with World War Z, I would be like, okay, I'm gonna click the stick and I'm gonna shift and shoulder so I can like peer around the corner and if there's a zombie lurking there. But I realized, I can't do that in this game. So I'm like, I can't really peek out of corners at all. Anyway, so I'm just like,
right. Well, I tell you too, one of the things that I think is throwing people for a loop with Payday is there's a lot. Most of your major shooters really, especially when you're playing with a controller, hold your hand with aim assist. Like you can literally set your controller down while playing Destiny, and if a bad guy crosses your crosshair, it'll move and follow him. Right? Payday has got very little aim assist.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I noticed. Like you really kind of have to dial in, But I think once you get your FOV set, like your FOV and your sensitivity just right, like it's really, really sweet. But I do agree that the default settings I didn't like. But it's where the crossplay works great. And that's my big thing is I feel like all third-party games going forward should be cross-play, cross-progression
100%.
everywhere.
I'm having so much fun with First Descendants. Like just the fact that not only does it have join in progress, but I have like Xbox players in the chat or people that's like, oh, I'm on PS4. It doesn't matter. You can play. Oh, I'm on Xbox. Doesn't matter. You can play. Like,
just think of the years that PlayStation set crossplay back.
Yeah, that was definitely
that's true.
That was definitely crossplay is a W all around.
My favorite feature of Payday 3 is the raining lava flows. You just walk around and a random lava flow will fall out of the sky.
So Captain Splat, right? That's what we've been calling him. That's one of the funniest clips ever, chat. You need to watch that.
I'll have to have a gander after the stream.
I know Stardust is pretty much just having a gander at Spider-Man 2.
A significant gander. Yeah. The thing is about like the way I'm doing it is that because I'm so excited for the game but can't stream to save my life, I just hate streaming. I've got to be honest. Like just because, and I think it's PTSD from when I tried to stream Deathloop on Twitch when I was like fiddling about with games and stuff. Like, because I was playing Deathloop and I was really into it and I forgot to look at chat and chat was having a go at me and I was immediately like, no, hate this, and I just stopped streaming. So I was like, I'm not doing that with Spider-Man. I'm gonna do like whatever I'm doing, videos, whatever, and then as soon as Spider-Man comes out, I'm just gonna play it. I'm just going to play at that point because everyone's going to do their collectible videos already. People who go on YouTube to watch like, okay, where am I going to find like a spider bot or something are going to either watch like Caboose or you if you're going to do that, or anyone else, you know, those sort of channels that would do that stuff. I don't need to do it for like, you know, I don't need to like take time out of what I'm like really invested in to be like, I've got to get this video out when 100 people will probably choose to watch it over everyone else. And that's fine.
You should just do meme content with Spider-Man too.
I probably will, to be fair, but I have to beat the story first because I don't want to get to like a really emotional point and have to like do like a gag at the same time. Like, way.
Yeah, my plan, if I get the review code, is I'm basically just going to take the first day I get. I'm just going to speed run through the entire campaign, like in like record, like literally. If I have to stay away for 24 hours, I will do it. I'm just going to record everything, and that'll be that way I'll have, but I'm going to record it in like different parts, and that way I'll have like the footage I'll need to do, like if I want to do a let's play commentary, or if I want to do my review and everything like that. But my number one priority is get through the entire story. I want to know if I was right about Venom, which but I can't wait to play it. I just can't wait to finally play it and see what it is, and because I definitely don't want to have any spoilers popping up. So
that's what I'm scared of. Like being like a content creator, you have to go on social media, but I don't want to, like, because I know that someone's gonna post it in a thumbnail or something as soon as you click on YouTube, or like it's gonna be on Twitter or.
What was that? Like I think the first day Gotham Knights was available. The day before Gotham Knights was officially available, I saw someone had uploaded the Batman scene from like the end of the game where Batman comes back to life.
Lejeune got a lot of shit because the day one Guardians came out, he did a thumbnail with Thanos.
Thanos in it. Oh, people were so mad.
That's like the catch-22 of content creation, though. Like our job is to like we get penalized by YouTube for not having an interesting thumbnail, and we put the interesting thing in the thumbnail, and then it's just people bitching about it. But if we don't do it, like somebody else is going to, and they're just going to be the one that get the views. And it's like people don't understand. Maybe the issue is you. Like maybe you should just try not to go on YouTube.
Are we the baddies?
But that's one of the many reasons why I don't pay attention to the comments.
Wait.
Besides, the people telling me to pick cotton. God Nice is on Game Pass now. Oh yeah, they announced that a couple of days ago. I heard rumors that they might be doing that, putting Gotham Knights on Game Pass. Now you're allowed to say it. Okay. Well, Jay Shotglass told me that that Gotham Knights was going to be on Game Pass.
That it might be coming to Game Pass.
That it might be coming to Game Pass.
I'm the one that speculated that it would be coming to Game Pass.
Yeah, he speculated based on his intuition of being a veteran of the video game industry that Gotham Knights might be coming to Game Pass in the next couple of months, as in October. For the anniversary.
Yeah, but until they find those extra 30 frames, the game's bullshit, right? So,
so. But I already saw people say, "Oh, it's coming to Game Pass." I definitely played it there. It got a bad rep. Why didn't people?
Because that's how it always
revisionist history, right?
Yeah.
It was like Pepper's Farm always remembers.
That's what we were talking about before we started today. But like, I literally had this account that I followed back in the day because this guy was nothing but the worst hot takes about Avengers you ever saw. Like, if anybody, he scoured the internet daily to find any bad talking point about Avengers, right? Just so he could echo that and just his distaste and he hates it, blah, blah, blah. And literally today tweets, "Man, I just feel like Avengers didn't get a chance." And no. And it was like, I wanted to blast him so bad. But it's like, man, I just... I don't want to open that can of worms.
You should have screenshotted one of his old tweets about Avengers and put it right next.
Oh, it's so bad.
Like put it right next to that new one that said how it started versus how it's going.
Yeah, right. Oh, it's so bad.
I'm actually perfect. Yeah, that's kind of. I feel like in 10 years, people are going to be talking about Avengers like how they were talking about Marvel heroes during
we were robbed. It was the greatest game ever.
Bring back Marvel's Avengers. They're going to be saying that about the next superhero Marvel game when they come out within 15-20 years. They'll be like, "Man, why can't it be like Marvel's Avengers? We need to why did they do an Avengers remake? Why?"
Dude, there is nothing like a shitty video game to pull like the video game hipsters out of nowhere. Like, I'll literally see people, "Man, Superman 64 really wasn't that bad if you really give it a chance." Like, piss off with that.
I absolutely hate those people, especially anyone that tries to tell you that Superman 64 was anything other than an absolute abortion of a video game. Like I still have nightmares of my experience playing that.
And it's going to live on in Spider-Man 2 when we fly through those beautiful hoops.
Yeah, right.
They're wind tunnels, Stardust.
Oh, I'm sorry.
They're wind tunnels and air vents, sir. Get it right. No, I literally played Superman 64 when it was on display the day it came out for like 10 minutes, and I hated it so much that I didn't even ask my mom to buy me a game. I just left the mall. I was so disgusted.
He was over video gaming as a whole, right?
I didn't want to see. I didn't want to see a game the rest of the day. I was so disgusted by what I played.
I was one of the dumbasses. I bought it day one.
Oh no! And
I bought you had to buy the memory pack, right? For some odd reason, you had to have that extra RAM to play that piece of shit, you know. And I remember that's the first time I ever went back to GameStop and begged them to return a game. Because I was like, this is so bad, you know.
Best I could do was $5 in a store credit. So only in store credit.
I had that same problem because our version of that in the UK is just called Game, and I had like a really bad craving to go play Miles again, and I thought I had sold it because when the game first initially come out, I was in my era of like playing games, trading them in, and then thinking that I won. In actuality, I just can't play those games anymore. Yeah. But then I never actually did, but I ended up buying a new copy, coming home, and then immediately finding the one that I had bought when it released. I was like, shit. So I immediately got back on the bus, went there and said, okay, I literally haven't opened it. As you can see, I have the receipt. It was just like 30 minutes ago. Can I just have my money back? We pretend this didn't happen. And they go, well.
Well, you see a video game is actually like a car. It depreciates as soon as it leaves the store.
I was about to say, right?
I was like, guys, come on.
Yeah, have you seen the look up the YouTube videos where people do that shit? Like I saw a YouTube video where a guy bought, it was like a C8 Corvette, $95,000 Corvette, and he drove it across the street to another dealer. It had like 1.2 miles or some shit on it. It's like, oh man, I could do 42 on it. And that'd be it. He's like, so in 1.2 miles, I lost 50% of the value of my car.
Yep.
Like, it's ridiculous.
That's how it works at GameStop. As soon as you leave the store, after about 5 minutes, is basically worth the price of less than the price you could probably get for trading in a Sega Genesis game. It's just not happening for
hell. In a few years, their business model, we're gonna have to pay them to trade the game in. Like, well, we'll take that game if you give us $5.99.
I'm surprised they're still open. I mean, they were failing business anyway. I mean, the whole meme stock war kept them afloat for a little bit, but they had no actual plan.
Well, I tell you, man, they're at least here in Cleveland, like where I'm at. Like, if you're a collectibles guy, like GameStop will scoop some shit, right? Like, you can be stalking Target for weeks looking for something and just roll in a GameStop and they'll have it. Like, that's how I got my Sergeant Slaughter classified. Sold out everywhere. I had like 2 different pre-orders on 2 different websites. Couldn't get it. Walked into GameStop. Like 3 of them sitting on the shelf.
I think GameStop is going to be like the new Blockbuster. There's going to be like a couple locations left worldwide, or maybe eventually get down to 1. And it'll just be like a tourist trap.
I mean, the GameStop we like having like where I live has closed down and reopened 3 times because people just do not buy physical games anymore, especially not where I live anyway. Like, getting a PS5 where I live was stupid easy. On launch day, I could just walk in, grab one, there it is. Like, it was so easy.
Yeah, I don't believe in going into physical stores to buy things anymore. What do you come out of savage?
To answer Divine, I think Bungie. Bungie probably had the resources and what they've learned from Destiny that they probably even could have used the same engine and pulled off a 4-player co-op crossplay with raids and mechanics and loadouts. And
I think Gearbox.
Yeah, good call.
I can see Ubisoft. Like, I mean, you look at like The Division, something like that.
True. I
mean,
like even their
Ubisoft
Assassin's Creed games are supported for like years and years and years. Like, they love stretching out the life cycle of their games. So
my pick is consistently Sucker Punch. But I would be curious to see how Epic Games would have tackled this. But after seeing what they were able to do with Ghost of Tsushima Legends, I was very curious about how Sucker Punch would do a take on a Marvel's Avengers superhero game, like an open world Avengers superhero game. Division 3, yeah, they quietly announced Division 3. No trailer.
That was crazy as
no
well.
announcement.
Like,
that's
such a huge thing.
Because that game, under the best circumstances, is 3 years out, right? So probably even longer than that, I would say.
Yeah, there's like, hey, by the way, Division 3.
Because Division 2 is excellent. Like, Division 2 was my first like live service after I got brought into it from Avengers, and I was like, wow, this is fantastic. I can see what's wrong with Avengers now.
I still haven't played it yet, but I did start playing Division 1, and I did think that was fantastic. So I can see the appeal.
Now, to me, like, if you brought Division 2 to full crossplay, right? I think that game would go next level, right? Because that is one of the hardest things for like a lot of those older. Tom Clancy's Breakpoint is a very underrated game, and like the problem is I can't put 3 people to play it with together on one system because I've got like a couple friends that play it on PlayStation and a couple on Xbox and all that stuff, and it's like, going back to Payday, it's like that's one of the things why Payday is so good, even with the shit it's got going on. Is because it doesn't matter where my friends are. We can get together to play. It's not janky. It's not laggy. It's like once it works, it's great. If they just get the matchmaking worked out, right? So
that is correct. That was announced, I believe, today.
Crossplay is, I think, essential. That's to me the first thing to being free was like a icing on top, but free to play. I mean, there's literally no barrier to entry there, but yeah, cross play and it's got the join in progress. It makes me concerned about Suicide Squad Justice League because I'm like, oh, I really want that game to do well, and I'm looking at how some really good live service multiplayer games do things. I'm like,
if we get through November and we still haven't heard anything about Suicide Squad, is that when we start getting nervous?
Yeah, absolutely. Because remember, the release date is I think February 1st or 2nd.
Right.
The Game Awards is in December. So once December is over, we'll be 1 month away from the release date of Suicide Squad Justice League. So yes, they absolutely should be marketing. They honestly should be marketing bare minimum starting in November, but realistically, probably October. But honestly, October is pretty packed, so I can understand them like, you know what, we're gonna sit this one out. So, but November definitely is when they should start getting the ball rolling if they plan on meeting that launch date. December 100%, and they absolutely have to be at the Game Awards. Like they have to be if they're planning on releasing.
They should start teases in November, right, and lead it to the Game Awards, like full unveil, world premiere, Game 100%, Awards.
100%.
Let's talk about that prequel comic.
Oh yes, rip.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Yeah, that was yeah, February 2nd. Yeah, February 2nd before Navajo's birthday. Yeah, they absolutely have to start marketing in November if they're going to make that date. 100%. Like that's got to be a thing, and it does concern me that they. I think they might have been so afraid. Funny enough, from the blowback of the live service stuff that they didn't really get into the live service features that would make people who are interested, because obviously people are going to complain regardless about live service games when in reality the overwhelming majority of players are playing live service games and enjoy them. Like is a very small, relatively speaking, vocal minority that are against it. So they really should have just kind of leaned into that and explained why their live service game is something that you'd be interested in if you're into that sort of thing, or even skeptical about that. Because yeah, there were definitely some important features that you obviously need to have in a successful live service game like this that they just didn't have. Like the one thing we saw was that it was always online, which is not expected, but not really a great thing, because the downside is that with a game like Payday or First Ascendant, no one really cares if it's always online because it's not a story-driven game. Because they pitched it as this also big story-driven superhero game, you're going to naturally attract a bunch of the single player people. Avengers ran into the same problem. Like you have this big single player campaign thing, so you're obviously going to attract the people who only want single player story-driven games. And when you have it always online, you're like, well, what the fuck? You can't really do that. And Avengers showed that they had at least the foresight to make it offline playable. Whereas Suicide Squad off the rip was like, oh well, even though we do have a big story-driven campaign where you can play with AI companions completely solo, it's still always online. We're like, whatever, doesn't make any sense then. Like, why would you have that feature if you can still play the campaign solo? That doesn't make any sense. So I hope that's one of the things they're correcting, but they didn't mention anything about Join in Progress. They didn't tease any of the DLC or even give us an idea of what that would even look like in terms of characters. I think at the very least they should have had a character that they could have teased to kind of get the hype going. So there's a lot of question marks, but the game could be very fun, but it could also be a complete disaster. I mean, odds are probably on a disaster, but I have high hopes for it. I want it to be good. I need a good live service superhero game.
I'll be honest though. The thing that worries me is that Suicide Squad as an IP has only sort of become big because of the movie. It's not like a Spider-Man where it can I mean, you could do that game in 10 years. You could have done it 10 years in the past, right?
And
Suicide Squad as a phase is
and
kind
honestly, it's not. Yeah, it wasn't even a thing in the first place. Like, it wasn't even necessarily a big IP or anything remotely close
because
to it.
the Suicide Squad didn't do very well, did it? It was only the first film that did
neither one of them did particularly well. No one really cared. The takeaway from both the Suicide Squad movies was like everyone wants to fuck Harley Quinn, and and then when James Gunn did his Suicide Squad, it was like, oh, Peacemaker, John Cena's Peacemaker is awesome. Like, that was the takeaway. Like, no one cared about the Suicide Squad. No one cared. Everyone was basically like, oh, I love John Cena as Peacemaker. Oh, I love Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. No one cared about the brand of the Suicide Squad. That's why when I saw the lineup for Warner Brothers when they dropped the Suicide Squad game, I was like, well, I see they're trying to play off the movie, but it even at that time it seemed like a dated choice for a roster, because it's like really.
I mean, they've been working on this game for like 10 years though,
and it's been
not
delayed.
even an exaggeration.
No, more than that. Like, I remember I did a deep dive into it. It had, but that's why I remember originally they were setting up the Suicide Squad game as an expansion of the like the Gotham, the Arkham Origins games and everything like that. They were setting that up through those games, and they had but the members they had were completely different. They had I remember they had Bronze Tiger, they had Catwoman, they had Deathstroke, and then when the game gets revealed, it's Harley Quinn, King Shark, Captain Boomerang. It's like, what are we doing here? And the only member there people cared about really was Harley Quinn, but by the time they were ready to launch, people really only cared about Harley Quinn and Peacemaker was nowhere to be found. So it's just like, well, maybe the game's still good, and then people saw the live service stuff and just immediately turned on it.
Yeah, it's got a lot going against it. I'd be surprised if this sells well, even if it's a really good game. To be fair, I think it'd have to rely on its whales quite heavily.
I think people will be into King Shark more now, because Samoa Joe is the voice, and I think everybody kind of liked him in Twisted Metal.
Yeah, but I think people kind of were off on King Shark when they saw he had a gun. Same reason they were mad about Captain Boomerang.
I don't know. I mean, all those Batman has a gun in Fortnite. Everybody bought it.
Yeah, they bought the people who buy Fortnite they basically don't care about the realism. We're like, oh well, we're just Fortnite players. We just want to run around in our skins. They don't care about immersion. They're Fortnite players.
Point stands.
It doesn't. People made it very clear that they thought one of the problems with Suicide Squad, beyond the people complaining about live service stuff, they were just like, it looked too samey. Every character kind of didn't really distinguish itself. Like Harley Quinn, oh, she's got a machine gun. Oh, Captain Boomerang, machine gun. Oh, King Shark, machine gun. Like, if you wanted to make a shooter, they could have just had shooter members: Peacemaker, Deathstroke, Bloodsport. That sort of.
I mean, Harley still makes sense.
Yeah, Harley still makes sense, but having King Shark and Boomerang there, if you just want people with guns, kind of defeats the purpose. That's why I thought either just have members that are known for shooting, or diversify it like Avengers. Have some some characters are. So Harley Quinn makes sense. She's melee focused, but also has some range weaponry because she's basically a human. Deadshot, obviously big into the guns, but then you have your brute character. Okay, that's your Hulk. So give them super abilities borrowed from the comics, and I thought they could get. See, I thought they should have had Bizarro on the roster, and give people the ability to fly around Metropolis as kind of a Superman, and just I think if they had Bizarro in that lineup and he wasn't just a shooter, and even if they had Captain Boomerang, if they did the speedster interpretation and he used boomerangs exclusively, I think that would have been a lot well received. You have Boomerang, and then you have Bizarro, so you basically have your speedster, flashlight character, and then you have your alternate Superman type of character. I think that would have been extremely fun, and people would have been pretty excited. But they looked at the prospect of just another, creatively bankrupt shooter that's trying to be the next Destiny. And it's like, Jesus.
The combat of Avengers with the combat of Avengers with like the traversal and the kind of environment that looks like we're getting in Suicide Squad would have gone like ham. It's kind of a shame, really, because it's like the things that Avengers didn't do particularly well. It looks like Suicide Squad's doing. I'm talking about purely gameplay. It's doing well, and the same on the other side. So if they merged, they would be like a really, really good fucking video game.
Yeah, especially if you also added the recognizable characters of Avengers,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, because I like your idea of like Justice League Light with the Suicide Squad with the villains like Bizarro, Captain Boomerang using a boomerang, stuff like that.
Yeah, there's so many options they had there. You could have had, because you have the Flash as a prominent member. You could have had, instead of Boomerang, and you could add Captain Cold. He's there's so many ways they could have done this better.
I tell you what would be the ultimate twist in this game, right? And I know it's probably way out of scope and budget for it to even be a possibility, but imagine if you played through 70% of that game, building up to the culmination that you're going to face the Justice League. Mm-hmm. And you beat the game, beat that part of the story, and free the Justice League, and then all of a fucking sudden you're the Justice League. And then you do the last 30% of the game as the actual Justice League. And then the Suicide Squad becomes supporting characters. Like, that would be so good.
That would be amazing, but that kind of feels like the whole, hey, if you beat Marvel's Avengers, Captain Marvel becomes playable.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's unrealistic, but especially if you're planning an actual Justice League game after that, like, perfect lead in.
When you beat Gotham Knights, you unlock Batman.
When you beat Suicide Squad, you get to play the final 30% of the game with Superman carrying an AK-47.
Yeah, that'd be the way it works.
Jumping around.
Well, you could do that in Fortnite.
Yeah, that's what people are actually calling it, Fortnite.
It's like that old Impractical Jokers. I don't know if anybody watches that show, but they have this thing where they have to do shitty sales pitches. And one time they're trying to pitch video games. He's like, "We're gonna do Superman the game, but only the Clark Kent shit." It's like that would be that, right?
Yes, Justice League the game, except Fortnite.
It's Superman, but you're Jimmy Olsen and you got a gun.
Yeah.
I feel like they would have to, like, if Johnny's like absolute wild fan theory came to life, I feel like they would have to spoil that in the marketing, because people would, like, marketing team and PR would look at them and go, "So you're telling me that this Justice League are playable, but you marketed the Suicide Squad?"
I was gonna say, it didn't make any sense. It wasn't gonna happen, but damn, it'd be cool.
It would be absolutely amazing, but 100% not going to happen, especially with the way they designed the combat. If it did happen, it would be absolutely, people would hate it more.
I was pretty shocked to see Wonder Woman not playable at all, because she's like on our sort of kind of on the goody team.
I think it's because they, and that's why I think is the problem. Like, I think they literally just designed it to just be a straight up midnight, Sunset Overdrive like third person shooter. Literature and nothing else. So I don't think they even have the capability of a Wonder Woman. Like imagine her just jumping around with her traversal, grabbing lassos and shooting enemies with a shotgun. Well,
I mean, if it's Zack Snyder Wonder Woman, she could just do this and blow half the city down. Like, that's just the end of the game, right? Like,
she just has like an electric guitar playing like moments of a DCU theme song.
That would be so. That would be hilarious and cringe at the same time. No, oh god. I'm hoping they make some adjustments, but I feel like there's only so much they can do in this 9 months if they intend to keep that release date. So I don't know if they're going to try to update the combat, but yeah, it definitely seems like a missed opportunity if every character is going to be designed as just a kind of generic shooter with like a couple special moves. to distinguish them.
Yeah.
I tell you what,
feel
it reminds me of. Does anybody remember that old game Brute Force on Xbox? That everybody made a big deal about it, that it used the Halo engine, right? Like it came out on the heels of the original Halo, but it was in third person, right? And I remember you could play it 4 players split screen, but that's exactly the game that it was. It was just running around with guns, and each player had abilities, but it was just like, a thing. And like, whenever I saw the Suicide Squad stuff, I was like, man, this is just like the evolution of that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you could definitely clearly see its DNA on the sleeve. You had the live service superhero stuff of Avengers, kind of the flashy traversal of like a Sunset Overdrive. Kind of the open environments of a Destiny where you're kind of crowding around a giant robot and shooting the weak points. Like it like had pretty much every live service looter shooter trope in there, even down to gear with the 0.3% chance of triggering toxic burst on this enemy. Like it had every trope you expect to see. And I think that's why it didn't really blow. One of the reasons it didn't really blow anyone away, because it really didn't distinguish itself, and it was nothing. And people didn't get to obviously play it themselves. That's why I think more games like this, especially, should embrace like demos. Like Baldur's Gate 3 had obviously great results with the early access strategy, but just giving players the chance to actually play a sample of the game. Not just select creators, like putting like a public demo out there so that you can gather like proper feedback, I think is really important. Something more studios should embrace.
100%.
I feel like
you're confident in your game, get it out.
Absolutely.
There.
Like I feel like if the reception, if that state of play ended with them saying, "Oh, by the way, download a free demo Suicide Squad, Kill Justice League right now," the reception would be very different.
I agree.
Especially if it was actually good.
Yeah, I always thought that a lot of the reaction was overreaction for that. So
yeah, it was definitely a lot of multiplayer.
I will say this. I think I don't remember if this is something they were going to do. I think something that every company that has a battle pass should start doing, and it will go a long way for a lot of people, is what Halo does and what even Lego 2K Drive is doing, where they've got their battle pass and you buy it, you activate it, and it's always there until you finish it.
No FOMO.
Like, no FOMO. I think that people are going to see, or companies are going to see, that when they have that, you know what, maybe somebody's going to buy the battle pass before it's over and not play it right away, and then the next battle pass comes out and they buy it and they're just going to double dip. What does it matter? They bought it both times. You know what I mean?
I feel like in general, a season pass is a better sell than a battle pass. Anyway, I feel like battle pass has such a negative connotation associated with it.
Yeah.
And I feel like people are more receptive of a season pass because it feels like it's more value, and it inherently usually doesn't have FOMO built into it. Obviously, we know Destiny regularly removes content that you paid for from the game, but in general, being like, okay, here's a season pass, you buy it one time, and here's an idea of what you can expect coming out. That's it. Boom. Move on. I feel like that's a better sell than the battle pass, because when you have a battle pass, people think, oh, it's going to be grindy, it's going to be FOMO and all this other stuff. Whereas with a season pass, it's kind of like, okay, that gamers, I think, have a better association with that, because it doesn't feel like a season pass is necessarily connected to just grindy stuff. It's like, oh well, it's a season pass, so that means that when the content comes out, we just get it and we don't have to think about it. That's just it. Whereas with a season pass, it's like, oh well, whereas with a battle pass, it's like, oh, I got to grind to get this thing, and
it's one of the reasons I stopped playing Apex Legends, and one of the reasons as much as I want to play and get all the spawn stuff in Call of Duty, I'm afraid because like I just don't want to buy these battle passes anymore and not finish them. Like Fortnite, I always find a way to do it, but like I didn't buy the new I don't even know if I bought the new expansion for Destiny because like I didn't do any of the battle passes. Like I played it like the first season, I played it up to like 30, and then I never finished it. And then the next season, I think I played it up to like 15, and I never finished it. And I was like pre-buying it, you know, like I bought the $99 version of the expansion, you know, and there's too many games, and that's why I just feel like with Lego 2K Drive, okay, like I'm literally wearing the hoodie right now. I love the game, but like there's not much more for me to do, and to level up that battle pass, very grindy. And after I got to a certain point, I was like, you know what? There's nothing for me to do right now. I'm just gonna wait until they add a new biome, and I'll do everything then. And they didn't do it for season 2, so I'm assuming that they're gonna do it for season 3. So when the time season 3 rolls around, I'm gonna be doing 3 battle passes at once, or season passes, or whatever it's called. You know what I mean?
It's passception.
Yeah. So I just feel like that's knocking the FOMO out. You know,
something I've been talking about this with my cousin back and forth. I don't know how many times, but like, and I realize it doesn't fit like a game like Fortnite, but anything to where like it's had a story, you know, and things like that. If you can figure out a way to tie battle passes to story content, right? To where instead of just a empty, do this thing this many times, earn this much XP, it's like if it were a 20-hour story related thing, to where by just playing through that and engaging in the story, every step that you got in the story, right, would be like unlocking the tiers of the past and giving you the stuff, right? So that way, like, you feel more drawn to it. Because like with Destiny, I'm just like Jay. I buy every expansion, I play through the story, and then by the time it gets to season of the boredoms 1 through 10, I'm just out. Because like you just literally had me doing the same shit over and over again to watch an arbitrary number go up, right? To where, like I said, Destiny is at its best when it's telling a story, right? So if you align those two things, I would be much more inclined to even buy a battle pass and say, man, I'll throw down $50 if I'm going to get, you know, X amount of hours of story content and things to do, right? I don't know. I feel like something just has to be, because I realize these games are very expensive to make, right? And you have to, cosmetics only really doesn't do it anymore because there's a lot of people that just don't give a shit, right? And a lot, especially younger gamers, feel like spending money in the game is a bad word, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
You know, so you got to figure out
true.
some way to like really incentivize somebody to, you know, you get rid of the FOMO, and not only am I going to get these things, but I'm going to get an experience and a reason to want to come do it outside of just getting those things.
Well, even the season of Fortnite, like the battle pass, I don't care about the battle pass skins except for Ahsoka, and Ahsoka ended up being the secret skin, and I think she's finally available next week. So like there's literally been no point in playing this season for me other than, you know, when Ahsoka comes out, and there's so much going on that it's like, you know, it's very easy to like walk away from this season. I'll end up getting to 100 one way or another, but like it's just crazy that like even the game that I've enjoyed the most with the battle pass, which is the one that I consistently get every year, like even their battle pass is getting to a point where it's like none of this is speaking to me. So, you know, it has to come down to like I really feel like the future is no FOMO, let people buy it, let people earn at their own pace, you know.
And all powered by ChatGPT. Well, I think we hit it. Appreciate everyone. We're at hour 3. Jay only had 1 pee break, so he's probably due for a second.
No, I'm good. But this, I was starting to get to my tune out point.
Yep. So what?
It's 4 in the morning for me, so I'm dying.
Yeah, I was also thinking about that too.
Yeah, he's
like I thought I heard snoring at one point.
Yeah, I forgot the British are on the wrong time schedule. So
we would do really appreciate you jumping in though.
yeah, we
Oh
really
no, this was fun. I
greatly
appreciate it,
it.
guys.
Yeah, glad we haven't had guests in a while. We had some stuff lined up, but the strike happened, so
Yeah.
so that got postponed. But we love having you guys on to shit talk all day. So appreciate everyone hanging out as usual. We'll be back next week, which well, some stuff might happen next week. We'll see what's going on by next Friday, but some stuff might happen. So appreciate everyone once again. Shout out Divine Shine, Capte, Stephen, Nawa Flow. We had old man Eastwood here. He had to go for a while. I appreciate you, Billy Finn, Venom, all y'all coming into the After Show every week. We appreciate it once again. Shout out to Casual Avenger. Hope you had a delicious deep dish. Hope to catch you next time.
Where can they find you, Slight Stardust and Johnny Rawker?
Well, they can find me at Slight Stardust on YouTube, at Slight Stardust on Twitter, and that's pretty much all I use because I tried to use TikTok like 3 times, but then I get bored.
Right, I'm Johnny Rawker on Twitch, spelt all dumb, and actually I got a little baby YouTube channel. It's Rawker Worldwide. Got some guitar stuff on there, and I'll be doing a little gaming content on there soon. So check it out.
Absolutely. And I can personally attest that Johnny Rawker's Twitch is very good. It's a very good time. Love every time Johnny is live. And he's also a great musician. So you'll want to follow him on both.
Mediocre at best, but I'll take it.
My stuff's all right as well.
And where can they find you, Jay Shotglass?
I had lunch and breakfast with Johnny Rawker once. So
that's right.
They can find me at youtube.com/Casual Avenger.
There you go. There you have it. That is Johnny Rawker. That is Red Coat Dust. I'm Sadat the Gamer.
I'm still not Casual Avenger.
Damn right you're not. Zip it up and zip it out. Peace.
See you guys.
See ya.